It's also gonna be a good show. I have a flight. Okay.
Oh, SeaWorld.
Welcome. We're hanging out live.
Welcome.
Sorry, we were just figuring out our travel. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, nobody knows what the hell's going on. We're just trying to get through this week and watch some damn football. Right?
I think maybe the layup line would be Amarillo by morning.
Yeah, Buffalo.
From San Antonio.
You think you could climb
Anywhere
Niagara
in Texas
Falls?
but Dallas.
You think you could climb Niagara Falls in this weather?
Is it dry?
I mean,
What are you saying that you need a
wet.
pickaxe
Is ice
and-
wet?
Yeah, I think if somebody would have done it, they would have already done it. If somebody was capable of doing it, they would have already done it.
And if
People-
they didn't, they're just in there.
They're just in there.
frozen.
I saw a video of a guy that got stuck under a waterfall. You always wonder what under a waterfall looks like, these kayakers.
There's always a loot crate.
Guy ended up on, no, there's not a loot crate. Like, there's a big undertow under the waterfall in some areas. Like, you can get sucked under
Death.
yeah, like death is under the waterfall. You know, I'm always like, I'd like to go in there.
No.
Nah. Okay.
Respawn.
So we're talking about, yeah, if you had one respawn, what would you do, Kyle?
If I had one respawn, man.
I just go about
I
my
have my
business
answer
a
for
little
you
bit more
later?
aggressively.
Can I get you my answer
Yeah.
later?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to interject at some point.
Yeah. Okay. If I had one respawn, I'm eating whatever I want. You know what I mean? Because you get, yeah, dude.
That might be it. That might be it. If I had a respawn, I've never done like those intense hallucinogenic drugs that people say are life changing. You got to go.
It's
on
basically like a
ayahuasca.
respawn.
I would go. No. I would go and do as much as I could of that stuff to try to cure whatever it is that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I did have an incurable effect from the situation that I just got myself
And
in,
you just respawn.
respawn.
And then go again.
And don't do it.
Don't do it. Ayahuasca. Things like that.
A strange.
We don't need to get into ayahuasca. Guys,
It would be a strange brew.
happy MLK Day,
Yeah.
which was news for a lot of people on the
Also.
Dallas Cowboys Reddit because I hopped on the Reddit to be like,
Stop.
what's
Stop.
going
They
on?
didn't know.
Wait, hold on. I said, what's going on inside the mushroom cloud that is Dallas Cowboys fandom? And one of the most upvoted posts was like, how bad are you going to get it at work tomorrow? And like
Stop.
a guy was like, thankfully MLK had a dream. And I think it was news to most Cowboys fans. They were just so wrapped up in
They
whatever.
only remember the Alamo.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember that.
There was also MLK Jr.
I think if you asked most people what happened at the Alamo, they really couldn't tell you.
You know,
That's the irony of it.
I just like saying it.
Yeah, some people died. It was ugly. All right, so happy Martin Luther King Day. Hopefully
feel bad
everybody's at
now.
home. We're not taking the day off because football happened, and more football is going to happen later today. And with that, let's begin our America's teams, Kyle, before we get into these 4 games.
Get into these America's teams. Look, I know C.J. Stroud's unbelievable. He's potentially the greatest quarterback that ever lived. And I'm kind of like tongue-in-cheek, but I'm kind of dead serious.
Better than
it
any
looks
quarterback
ridiculous.
that will ever be born.
Number one, Bobby Slowick's offense.
Oh, yeah.
That's my number one America's team because if you're looking to just change some things, and I understand you're not going to bring C.J. Stroud with you, but you got to go get Bobby Slowick, right? You got to go get Bobby Slowick.
Fast.
And say, whatever you did there,
Yeah.
give us 68% of that with our ball club,
Yeah.
and I promise you we got a fighting chance. That's number one, Bobby Slowick's offense. I love it.
Yep.
Number two, Jordan Love's early investors.
Oh, man.
I forget what movie it was where he was like, Amazon. He was giving his buddy a heads up. He had like access to the information. He was like, Amazon.
Check
is
this
like
out.
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere in Utah. I'm not quite sure where Utah State is, but there was somebody out there who's like, you got to see this kid throw the damn football, man. He jumps up in the air and twists his torso around. Doesn't
Looks
matter
like
what kind
Rodgers.
of coverage. It's unbelievable. So
guys
Jordan
keep
Love,
going.
early investors, congratulations. You get to screenshot your tweets and post them again and say, I told you so.
Go,
and you can
Pat,
say a big
go.
fuck you
By
to
the way,
Adam
can you
Shine.
pull up us from mid-season where we said Jordan Love's the answer? If
number
people are,
one?
people
week
are doing
number
that?
one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
were like,
we said it.
He
We-
looks like Aaron Rodgers.
We were, well, you know, the looks like Aaron Rodgers.
Better than
But, you know, he hit some bumps in the
Jumping up
road.
in the air.
And I don't think we ever jumped off the bandwagon here. We've always liked Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
We're
It's
on
going to be
record.
tough, and it makes me really
Think about the
fearful
Chicago thing.
thinking about the gap because like we have the Lions thing on lock. We understand how to beat Detroit,
I-
but the gap is wide between 2 and 1, the obvious one in Green Bay.
I turned to Nolan last night and listen, it's not a win or lose thing for me when you have a take on like Justin Fields or something, but I'm willing I'm willing to have a trade discussed after seeing that
I'd pump
performance
the brakes.
last night. I know you're like full on pumping the brakes, and I still think it's a crapshoot, but that doesn't help if they're sitting there thinking, hey, I kind of want to, trade, not trade the pick. I want to keep the pick. It's hard to argue with what you saw on TV last night.
It was like playing on easy mode almost, and it's like
against a good defense at home.
Yeah, at home.
That's what
it
they
was
say.
like Dan Quinn didn't show up. It's like all those years of experience that Dan Quinn is accumulated.
The interview bug, man. Guys with the interview bug, they don't.
So now I'm like, is Dan Quinn going to get hired anywhere? Okay, I digress. That's number 2.
Definitely
Jordan
get
Love,
hired.
early investors. Way to go, guys and gals. Number 3, The Rock. Chris, which Rock? The Rock. Dwayne Johnson.
What do you do?
Well, he merged a couple leagues, and now they're going to be one league, and it's called the UFL. And it's going to be in the springtime. It's going to bridge the gap for people like me who will need a slow, steady drip of football. And, we're going to have it. There's 8 teams. We got the Birmingham Stallions, the Houston Roughnecks, the Memphis Showboats, the Michigan Panthers, the Arlington, Texas Renegades, the DC Defenders, San Antonio Brahmas. I got to get a Google search on what a Brahma is. And the St. Louis Battlehawks. We're going to figure out right now.
It's literally the Rock's.
Let's just choose our teams
Rock's
based
nickname.
on names.
Roughnecks.
Oh, my favorite team.
Roughnecks.
I'm a Battlehawks fan, man, dude. They play in the Edward Jones Dome, so I'm a Battlehawks.
I'm gonna pick the DC Defenders just based on the fact that they have a 20,000 seating capacity at Audi Field in Washington D.C., which tells me they're gonna have that thing packed to the
it's gonna be
fucking
packed
gills.
to
And
the
when you
gills.
come to D.C., you got to deal with the 12th man. Mm-hmm. And that's my number 3, The Rock. I know we got to the DC Defenders there, but The Rock is my number 3 America's team. Number 4, CBS. I'm not going to say the other guys, which we do have a family member that works
Fox?
with the other guys. Yeah, there you go. It's a 3-letter
More of a
word.
CBS guy.
Peacock.
Well, not Peacock. That's the point here, because Peacock makes you pay.
Listen, man. I know.
I
know.
view.
People at home are like,
They
yeah, you
did
guys are
numbers.
rich, but like,
They did
you guys at
numbers.
home have vices. One less pack of cigarettes a month, you can buy Peacock. One less Zin a month, you can buy Peacock. You know,
It's not about
That was worth
Not about
$5.99.
$5, and it was worth the money. But what it's about to me,
I don't let anybody
is
get
the
over
ease
on
of
me.
access. You know what I'm saying?
I just
Like,
let people get over on me. I don't care.
it's
Fucking Peacock,
ease of
you can have
access
it.
because time is money, and time spent with my neck crooked down looking at my phone is not how I want to spend it. I want to spend it looking at the TV or maybe looking at press guide,
Yeah.
sports,
Guide,
live.
sports. You know this-
look, the game's right there.
You don't know how to screen share?
CBS lets you
Who,
do
me?
that.
Him. You don't know how to screen share? So you don't
Hey,
have to look
this
at your
isn't
phone?
tutorial time. This
My
is
bad.
America's team.
You got it.
Oh,
You
doesn't
got
like tech support.
I hate.
Geek Squad comes to
You
Kyle's
got it.
house. He
I'm
flips
just
their
trying to
car
save
and
your
beats
neck.
them
Explain it
all
to me.
up.
Explain it to me. I got fired up. I got carried away.
You definitely have like a smart TV. So like instead of looking at your phone, there's a button that you can press
Yeah, you
to
can-
beam what you're looking at your phone
Okay.
straight to your TV.
So
in
how do
front
I
of you.
control it if it's on my?
Through your phone.
So like I can still hold my phone normal.
You can play. Yeah, you can do whatever you want on your phone. You can text
Yes.
people.
So it's not gonna. Sometimes you do that and the overlay comes up where you have to press up, down, left, right.
Hey,
I don't like that.
I only know the basics.
It's all fucked up, Kyle, because I got 3 remote controls now for my
Okay,
TV. It's
again,
like the
I
smart
digress.
TV thing is stupid, but
CBS,
The
thanks
smart
for
TV
CBS.
is
Thanks for staying
stupid.
true. And if you
Ironically.
didn't tune in on Sunday to Tops, we got to get a really special interview with Jim Nance and Tony Romo from the hotel room with a blizzard behind them, and they were both in the black turtlenecks.
I think I'm gonna get drunk tonight, Jim.
It was hilarious. And Jim snitched on Tony. Jim said, we're under a travel ban here in Buffalo, and all the people are staying home and safe. And Tony has a brand new vehicle, which he took out for a spin on the road last night.
Damn.
Tony. And Tony's like, well, Jim, this was before the travel ban. It was clear that wasn't discussed.
Well, the travel ban was 9
Expert
p.m.
trolling by Jim because they're just killing time. They're sitting in a hotel room. They don't
Yeah.
know when the game's getting played.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a vet move by Jim to be like, hey, Tony, how were the roads last?
Dude, if I was snowed in Buffalo, I think
In that brand new Maybach.
yeah, I would just get shit faced. I wouldn't need to drive anywhere. I'd just be walking through the streets.
Those guys are legends.
Bar to bar.
Number 4, CBS. Number 5, the Dallas Cowboys. Hear me out, okay?
Yeah.
Because they got lovable guys. I mean, CeeDee Lamb. How do you not root for CeeDee Lamb?
Easy.
Easy. Fax was rooting for him
Easy
at all.
yesterday.
If you were at the live stream yesterday, Fax is like the next Who's the is it Inky something? Like who's the guy that goes to eat
Inky Johnson.
Inky Johnson. Your team's struggling, just have Inky Johnson, and your team's struggling, just have Dr. Faxon. He'll dog cuss all your players.
Like Jimmy Johnson.
He should do but worse. He should do the exit meetings for every Cowboy. They have to go see Dr. Fax.
In a black suit.
In his suit. That's it right there. You got to see the black hat.
CD Lamb yesterday, bro.
Dak Prescott, he's a lovable quarterback.
Yeah, go ahead.
He doesn't have a top tier ceiling, in my opinion. Yeah, he's got 36 tuds on the year, but that's a byproduct of having a really great team. They got a good O-line. You got Micah Parsons, one of the most exciting defensive players in football, and a bevy of other guys on that side of the ball. And look, you got Jerry Jones, you got Jerry's World, you got one of the coolest stadiums in the world, on the planet, and you know you're going to make a splash higher. So number 5, America's teams, opportunists, just like the early Jordan Love investors, they saw that as an opportunity to hop on a bandwagon. You can hop on the Cowboys bandwagon. Usually people are burning jerseys.
Yeah.
But I think they might gain some fans because it might be more in. You got to buy the dip.
Buy
the dip. Number 5, America's team, Dallas Cowboys.
I think some sort of natural disaster would have to destroy AT&T Stadium for there to be the kind of dip where they're like an asset you'd want to buy low on. Because I think it's judging by everybody's mentions and like looking at like people hate the Cowboys, man. And I don't even hate the Cowboys. They're just more entertaining to me at this point. And not in like a ha 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 I'm laughing at you. It's more like it's good for TV that the Cowboys
but Cowboys is probably the only franchise that diehard other fans of teams like enjoy rooting against them.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
No, I don't think that. I think the Eagles have fallen into that category. There's some more there.
Yeah, Eagles definitely.
Cowboys are just the biggest example.
Yeah,
it's like in NASCAR and the
Yankees
NASCAR rivalries. It was Dale Earnhardt Jr. versus Jeff Gordon. And Dale Earnhardt Sr. was 3. He was like, the old school. He did it the old school way. And then
the Raiders.
Jeff Gordon came along, and he was flashy.
The Cowboys.
The Rainbow Warrior. And people were like, fuck Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
There was people that were like 3, but also
turns out he's cool as shit.
Gordon. They had kids pissing
turns out he's cool as shit.
24s on the back of C1, whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah. What do you mean?
You like pickup trucks.
C10s?
C10.
Yeah.
C10s.
Yeah, C10s. You know, the C3POs. God loves trucks. Truck
2
guy.
door. Short bed.
That's good. That's good.
You know what I'm talking about?
C10s.
A lot of them.
A lot of them out there.
A lot of kids pissing on.
Yeah, a lot of kids pissing on Jeff Gordon in the back of a C10. All right,
that's the Cowboys.
Is it time for my America's teams? I'm gonna try to work fast. Okay. Number 1, Best Buy, America's team, because Best Buy, they love Dallas Cowboys. They love Dallas Cowboys. They love Dallas Cowboys fans because what do Dallas Cowboys fans do? They destroy their electronics.
That's good.
Don't they just destroy their electronics? Yeah. Like they are the number 1 electronics destroying group of people on the planet.
And they strike me as non-warranty buying motherfuckers.
They're
paying in full.
Yeah, they're like the guys from Office Space. That's who Dallas Cowboys fans are. So, and also, I think for Best Buy, they're looking at it and they're like, it's kind of nice because all these people are going to break the TVs. They're the same people who are just lined up outside the door on Black Friday. Like, there's something that they have in common. Dallas Cowboys, people that go to brick and mortar stores and beat each other up for a fucking Teletubby every year. Screen. Or our version of the Teletubby, and the people that destroy their TVs. Now, I know some of you are going to be upset, like I'm an anti-Cowboys guy, but I'm having fucking fun this morning. Okay, America's teams, Best Buy, number 1. Bama fans, number 2. Can you roll that audio? This is from the Paul Feinbaum show.
Is this real?
You'll be judged on this one right here, brother. You'll be judged on this one right here. Man, I don't know, brother. I don't know. Y'all pray for me.
Pray for me!
That's the...
So the guy's real broke up because Nick Saban retired, but he's furious because he heard they might hire Dabo, and I felt the same way as a Tide fan. I don't know if I was going to send my kids to Alabama. You see, that thing was upside down. We can turn it right side up again, our Alabama flag, because it's not going to be Dabo. It's going to be DeBoer from Washington. And that leads me to my next America's teams, Jimmy Sexton clients. This guy's the kingmaker, an agent to the stars of college football.
I didn't even
this guy,
realize who this guy is.
yeah,
when I saw
well,
this.
I think now people realize. Number one, Saban retires. That's his client. He uses it as an opportunity to get leverage for Sark, Norvell, and Lanning. They all get raises, and then his guy, DeBoer, gets the job at Alabama. I mean, this guy had a weekend. So Jimmy Sexton, clients, you are America's team.
And is there anybody who makes content information more palatable than this guy, Joe Pompliano?
Oh, he's really good at it.
Like,
He's a good guy.
He
He's-
makes it so easy for a slow-brained idiot like myself.
He's
to
good
just
at
be
it.
like, I get that.
He's
I
good
get
at
what
it.
he's saying.
Legend from Alabama was going to rip his arm off and beat himself with it.
That's a good name.
He was
going
to set himself on fire at the 50-yard line.
50-yard line.
Pour gasoline all over himself, set himself like a monk.
I'm gonna beat the hell
you're
out of
like,
my-
listen,
Think about whatever that monk was going through to do that. How serious, whatever it was, like it was like life and death. It was like, like they were being persecuted, those guys. Okay. And look, the Alabama guy's going to light himself on fire over Dabo Sweeney coming to
Listen,
town. That's how passionate these motherfuckers are. We're not talking about taking your housing. We're not talking about like World War III. He's going to
They're
light himself on
surrendering
fire.
themselves to a power greater than
if you're
themselves.
Dabo and you hear that clip, how do you feel?
Ooh. Give him
Like
time.
I'm God, because
Give
that's
him
how I
time.
feel every day, anyways. Like whoever punched him in the eye was like, he was like,
Yeah,
Thank you.
Can you explain to me what happened? I saw the picture of that.
I don't think anybody knows.
Really.
I don't think anybody knows. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. Okay, this is my next one, guys, and yeah, you know me, outdoor football fans. Okay, I just want to say this: I like grass. I like grass stains. I like seeing the steam coming off a guy like you's head. Guy like you, steam coming off your head.
Miles Garrett.
Like the
Who
guy
was it?
from the Chicago Bears.
No.
You remember the guy from the Chicago Bears in the 90s that had all that steam coming off his head? There's an iconic picture. I think his last name starts with a Z. Somebody in the chat's going to know. I like coaches looking like they're stationed in Antarctica. I like all that stuff.
They're looking uncomfortable.
Also, you can't do flyovers indoors. Okay.
True.
Okay. An outdoor football argument has been waging all week long. It's been the weather. People have been showing me, the forecast, and it's kind of an existential crisis the way I look at it, because football is supposed to be played outside. These people want a Buffalo Dome. Okay, the game got moved anyways. It was going to get moved anyways because of the snowstorm. Even if we had the Buffalo Dome, nothing would change. They'd move it to Monday. So if you got your Buffalo Dome, you got your dome football kind of world, you'd still have to move it. There's a fucking travel advisor. What do you guys expect? Unless you're going to dome the entire county, like the Simpsons, you're not going to play this game until Monday. So things are going to happen. And by the way, these
Who's
anti
to say they can't do it? Israel has an iron dome. We can just do a glass one.
they have an Iron Dome.
It's
Okay.
the name of their missile defense system.
Okay, got it.
It's literally the most expensive missile defense system on the planet.
Okay.
And you can't see it. I mean,
Well, so-
it would be
so-
like having a glass one. You could just play games in February and January in Buffalo.
Whatever they
It would be
built
spring.
whatever they built that Iron Dome about, and I'm sure they have a lot of real reasons, but
Impressive.
well, they think that's an existential threat. You know what I think is an existential threat to American society is these people that want football inside. I think you guys are like, it's up there with misinformation and something else. And then indoor football. These are
else.
the existential crises of our time. I think if you move, some people would say, hey, if you move the stadium, Kyle, to California, if the Bills had to move, because we can't take this anymore, California or Florida.
Take the Bills to Mexico City. Can you imagine all the
You want to talk about dangerous, Kyle?
all the Mexican guys with Josh Allen?
I'm not talking.
jerseys?
I'm not talking about Mexico City
That's what
being
I'm
a dangerous place. There's a high crime rate and all that shit. And the cartel might snatch you up, but they play that fucking game at 8,000 feet. You think that's not more dangerous than playing in what I saw Saturday night? Get the fuck out of here. Okay. On top of that, move the team. Some people were like, well, we just can't have teams in Buffalo. Okay, which is stupid. You move it to California or Miami. Look it up. I did. Hurricanes have moved more games than fucking snowstorms since 2000. So nothing's sacred when it comes to hurricanes. Hurricanes will fuck up the dome down in New Orleans. They'll fuck up Reliance Stadium. Hurricane, nothing's sacred. They moved the Governor's Cup, which
I
is of
played
course.
for a coach who had a
move 'em to
dome fall
Canada.
on him.
Huh?
Chris,
Huh?
move them to Canada, to
No,
Montreal.
Guys, no. Okay, is it unsafe? Did the guys look unsafe out there Saturday night? Kansas City Chiefs were dancing. You know what's unsafe? All those unhealthy people up in the stands. They did just fine. I talked to people who were at the game. They said the walk to the truck was kind of tough, but we were fine. Okay, you know what's unsafe about NFL Stadium? There's enough fireball at Arrowhead to kill the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. That's unsafe. But we don't care about that stuff. We want to act like we're worried about the players and how cold it is. Let's say you build a dome in Buffalo. Take 2010, the Metrodome in Minnesota. You know what happened there? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm an American who likes outdoor football, so I don't measure things in the metric system, but they said 0.5 meter of snow was on top of that roof. And what do you think happened? It fucking collapsed. Okay?
called the
What if the
Metrodome,
Minnesota
not the
Vikings
Meterdome.
were in that stadium? It'd be catastrophic. They'd still have the little black patches on their jerseys. Those guys would have got crushed by the roof that fell down. Okay, and you could say, "Hey, yeah, bear with me here." You could say that that's unsafe, and you would fix it if you built a new dome because that dome was obsolete. But you know what costs a lot of money? A fucking new dome. You know what costs a lot of money? A new stadium. You know what costs more than a new stadium? A stadium with a new dome. So you're going to make the people of Buffalo pay for a stadium and the roof? Are you kidding me? You coastal elites? Like, what are you're gonna here, I can see it now, New York Post. Buffalo roofer can't make ends meet because he has to chip in on Josh Allen's roof. Are you fucking kidding me? That's what you want the Buffalo people to do? The good people of Buffalo who you profess to be worried about in a situation? Don't tell Buffalo what they want,
Mexico
what
City,
they need.
bro.
Please.
I'm telling you.
Okay? And you know what? When they replaced the Metrodome, that stadium killed birds.
True.
What? Yeah,
lot
dude,
of them.
a lot of birds, bro.
Like
so,
Boise?
like honestly, a lot of that is satire.
numbers?
A lot of that is a little bit like me playing a caricature of myself, but I firmly believe that outdoor football in the cold is not dangerous. Google NFL player freezes to death. You can't. You can't find anything. Do it. I found it. And NFL or football player anywhere freezes.
Can you
to death.
imagine if every game in Buffalo they have to like run out past a couple frozen dead bodies like Mount Everest? They're like,
But that's
oh
what these,
God,
that's
just
what
keep
these
running.
that's what these people online are making it seem like, and they're like, this is just unsafe. You are watching football.
like a body slide.
Football is unsafe. They just put it in a refrigerator. Look at the end of the game. Guys with no sleeves dancing around on the side of the field. They won the game. They're happy. They don't feel the cold. They want to get inside, but they don't feel the cold.
They're sweaty and stuff. Like that's like hypothermic.
What about the
condition.
equipment malfunction? We've never seen that before.
Well, that was something different, but I don't think that was an unsafe thing. I think it's the shell of the helmet, and then you replace the helmet.
The shell's not like the shell breaking because of the cold. That's not.
I don't know. Did he die? Is he okay? Is he
We're gonna
okay?
talk about that.
No, but I mean, the last thing I'll say is this, and we could debate outdoor versus indoor football all day long. It being unsafe. The checks are not in your column, and this game getting moved is not a check in your column if you're anti-outdoor football. I want you to do something. I want you to admit something. If you're at home and you're like, Chris, you're an idiot, I want you to admit something. You don't care about player safety. You just want to see the men throw the ball far.
Yeah.
Just say that. Like what Kurt Warner said, which he came out and said it. He's one of the men that used to throw the ball far, and he was like, I don't like seeing guys not be able to throw the ball far. Well, you know what I like, Kurt and others? Every fucking week, y'all have advantages that nobody else on the field has. For 1 week a year, you can't overcome those disadvantages that we often do as defensive linemen and other people. Like, I don't care. Cry me a river. Put the game outside. I hope it's cold as shit the rest of the playoffs. I love watching it.
Yeah, it's part of part of the fabric of what makes football football. It's part of what gets people excited to root for.
I'm
teams
fucking
like
fired up for
Chicago
outdoor
in these
football.
later months. I mean, it's what makes the fall games, the week 1 through 6 games, so special in a place like Chicago and Buffalo because they know that eventually winter's coming, like Game of Thrones, and they're going to be involved in the battle, right?
Yeah,
And not only do the players have to show up, but the fans have to show up. And,
Dude,
and the Green Bay fans, the Chicago fans, the Buffalo fans, Pittsburgh.
that's going to be
But
a
look, we
travesty
talked-
when they put a roof on
Well,
some
look,
stadium
we
of
talked-
Buffalo.
We talked about that too. This is the time of year. Is just when you know it's coming and you really don't. When you don't control your fate, like in the playoffs, this is the stuff you have to worry about and you have to deal with. Going somewhere where you're not used to playing in the element.
That's what makes there something to play for. That's why that Miami game was so damn big.
And that's why
against Buffalo.
Exactly.
Listen,
And that's too damn
I know
bad.
I'm yelling a lot, but I know everything has to be perfectly safe. Well, then let's not play football. Let's not drive to the game. I could be that asshole and be like, statistically, the chances of you dying on the way to the game are higher than playing in a football game at -30.
Or
it wasn't even -30. It was -30 with the fucking wind chill. Please,
That's
it's not
what it
actually
felt
-30. It felt like -30. I feel like I could make up a whole bunch of things I'm feeling right now. It's
Like I can eat a whole cow.
Okay. All right. Here's the last one. Andy Reid's mustache. America's teams. America's teams. Andy Reid's mustache hairs. The way they fucking bound together with snot. They congealed.
Shit is gross.
It was incredible, bro.
This is gross.
It was incredible.
Because I know there's just snot and nasty shit like just all frozen in there, bro. You know you're this big. You got a beard like that.
You know.
And
how
you
that
know
is.
when it's cold.
Don't you have facial hair?
You
I
know
don't
when
get
it's cold, you get that runny nose
I don't
into your
get
beard.
snot on my mustache. I don't have
Yes,
that
you do.
mustache like him. Yes, you do.
I have a nose for it. Tariq Cohen used to say, "You smell everything you say." Huh?
Can I go my axis of evil?
Dickhead.
All right. So I did my America's teams. Now I want to do axis of evil. Which is of course Chicago Bulls fans. Okay.
Dude, what the fuck?
Now hold on a minute here, Kyle, because it gets worse. Okay. I hear a lot of things like game of telephone. I'm watching football and people are like, "Holy shit! They just booed Jerry Krause in Chicago and they made his wife cry." And I'm like, "Well, that's so fucked up." Like immediately I'm on the side of the Krauses. And immediately I think there's some things that you're just like, hey, like I feel bad. Don't do that. And you could say, yeah, well, Philly would have done it. I've never seen Philly do exactly this. You want to say Philly threw a fucking snowballs at Santa Claus. Santa Claus isn't real.
Not the real one.
You know who's real? The Krauses, okay? And just because Michael Jordan hates them, I don't want to get in the weeds with you guys about you're not reasonable people booing Jerry Krause. Especially because this morning I found out he was dead.
You didn't know he was.
I forgot about the fucking
That's why they
the
all
documentary
thought,
from
that's
the.
why he was the scapegoat in the last.
I understand,
Dance,
bro,
because
but
he
I
was the only
forgot
one that was
bro,
dead.
With all the football I watch, all the shit
were
I
like,
cover.
"Fuck Jerry Krause."
Sometimes I
Everybody
forget
said.
things, Kyle. And Jerry Krause is dead. You didn't just make you cowards.
It was the worst.
You couldn't boo him to his face. I know you probably did, but you just ended up booing his widow.
I want to.
You're so wrong.
Send her flowers or something.
Yes, I want to send her. I want to send her. Yeah, I don't know what I want to send her.
Like something.
I want to send her something because I feel really bad. And flowers isn't going to make it right because this woman, she's lived her whole life. She's married to this guy, Jerry Krause, who died. And his one moment,
He was
you
handsome.
guys boo him and make her cry. Like insanity, dude.
Now I think it was
Some things are off
I think
limits.
it was Ron Harper that was there who immediately went behind her and put his hand on her shoulders and was talking to her in
Should
the
have had
moment.
Ron Harper and the guy that
Chris,
helped with
she
the
was
national
thankful.
anthem that one time.
She was really thankful in the moment. Shout out to Ron Harper. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what a man does in that.
What are you going to
moment.
boo Ron Harper too?
No, but like he didn't even make a big deal out of it. He was like, "I'm here with you. Like we love you." You know what I mean? It was cool to see.
I forgot Jerry Krause was dead. You
that's
should
the
have seen it
only-
this morning.
it's the only silver lining.
Kyle, I was in here like Axis of Evil, these Chicago Bulls fans. Can you believe it? And I'm like going to look it up, and I forgot for a second. I'm like, oh my God, he's dead. It's even worse.
Yeah,
You're just booing a dead guy.
Shout out
dude.
to Ron Harper.
Next up, America's team for me is the Freedom Caucus. It's getting bigger.
Freedom Caucus is growing.
Head coach carousel, huh?
Yeah, and it might grow today with the Cowboys losing. But
Did that happen yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe we'll get a breaking news during
I'm in the
the
Bermuda
show.
Triangle right now.
Yeah.
You know, from like 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we're just chatting it up, and then sometimes we find out shit is happening. Yeah, I wonder what's going on right now in Dallas.
Well, here's the deal. I think it's probably the end for McCarthy. Even whether it's fair or unfair, we're going to talk about Dak and we're going to talk about the game in a little bit here. But I think for Cowboys fans, and I laid this out earlier and posted a social about it, but guys, think about how crazy this is. Jerry Jones has been waiting the whole century, right? It's been 23 years of losses like this. You go through the losses, right? 2006, Romo botches the field goal. 2007, you remember Romo was on the beach. The bye week before the divisional round, they became the first team that lost as the number one in the divisional round since the playoffs expanded in
who'd
1990.
they lose to?
the Giants, which made it worse, who went on to win a Super Bowl. 2009, they get blown out 34-3 by the Vikings. So bad that Wade Phillips thinks they're running up the score. 2014, Dez caught it. Okay, the nightmare continues, right? Right into yesterday. But 2016, guys, when they had Dakota Prescott, young rookie quarterback out of Mississippi State, and they had
I was
Ezekiel
like,
Elliott.
who's he?
Well, back in the day, well, he thinks it's Dax. Back in the day, he thinks it's like Dax Shepard. Dax, he puts an X on the end of Dax
Dakota's
all
a
the
great
time.
name.
Dakota's a great name. Okay. But they thought at that point, they feel like the Texans felt like right now, without the baggage that Dallas Cowboys fans carry around. But like they were like, we have a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back. We got a great O-line. We're going to be here a while. They were playing Aaron Rodgers in 2016, and they battled back. They were down 15. They tied it twice. Rodgers broke their backs on that Jared Cook's catch on the sideline.
Yes, on the left sideline.
So they come out of that game. What do you think they said? They probably said, this is different. We got a young quarterback. He was in his first start against an MVP candidate over there in Aaron
They made
Rodgers.
a great play.
And they made a great play. We'll be back. Okay.
They get paid too.
And they've been back a lot. Okay. Fast forward to last night. That same franchise that replaced that MVP trotted out a quarterback in his first playoff start.
Woo!
At Jerry's World to beat your MVP candidate at one point this year in Dak. And that is insane symmetry to me. Insane symmetry. On top of the fact that the guy on the sideline in 2016 is the guy you're thinking about firing right now. So they've tried everything. The one thing that Jerry hasn't tried enough is switching quarterbacks. I know the guy just had an MVP run. You gave Romo 13 years. You given Dak 7, 8 years. And I think Dak's a good player in a lot of teams. You know where you send Dak? Down to Miami.
Ooh.
That could be fun.
Ooh.
I'm just saying, man, because the same results keep happening, and I have complimented Dak. If he'd have won the MVP, if you took away the Buffalo game, which is an if game, before that game, I was on board with, yeah, give it to him. But the MVP race doesn't mean that the guy's the quarterback of the future.
Yeah.
Just being in the race doesn't mean you're the quarterback of the future, especially for a team. When you look up and they said, remember when Tony was done? It was like, oh, it's going to be better now. It's Dak. Dak's different. Tony couldn't get us over the hump. They're in the same position. I looked at their stats in the playoffs. Same quarterback rating. Last night, before yesterday, it was 2-4 and 2-4. Now it's 2-4 and 2-5. So be my guest if you want to keep spinning the wheel on this thing. Like, I think people deserve chances, and Dak's had a ton. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery.
Yeah,
you know?
change of scenery, I think, for everybody there in Dallas. And you watch that game, and I give a lot of credit to Matt LaFleur for having conviction and having a game plan that if and when they did win the opening toss, they were going to receive the kickoff and go down and score. They did just that. But for Dallas, it was the lack of reaction to seeing what Green Bay was doing offensively. The downhill runs from Aaron Jones were awesome. They were getting bullied up front. And I think Dan Quinn could have done more schematically to be able to obviously, the pressure is getting to Jordan Love, but Jordan Love is excelling at throwing off his back foot and making you pay for it on the back end. I think you got to put more guys in coverage because when Dak's on the field, and now I'm going to talk about McCarthy, every completion, it seems like there's three guys swarming around the ball. It's the tightest window throw you've ever seen to Ferguson, and he comes down with it. And you're like, who's got it? Is it an interception? Is it a catch? Is it an incompletion? That's what the offense is. And if it's not that, it's the hitches, the 5-yard stuff. It's just not looking dynamic enough, and it shows its teeth when you play a team like Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur's offense who can score at will. And last night, you were kind of reminded of it watching Dallas or Detroit and the Rams at the beginning of that game. You're like, Detroit can score all day.
Yeah.
We can't do field goals. We can't do anything other than score.
Yeah.
And that's the position Dallas found themselves in. They didn't adjust, and it looked like the same game from the jump to the finish.
Should we break this game down now? Should we talk about Dallas and Green Bay probably first? I'm going to make an executive decision and say yes.
Go, Pat. Go.
How awesome was that?
Because this is related to the Freedom Caucus. I mean, it was awesome because, I mean, we're big Dontavian Wicks fans in my house, UVA guy.
Romeo Dobbs.
And
Wow,
Dobbs.
wow.
I've been,
Oh,
bro.
You've been
Dobbs.
pounding
If
the
there's a
people.
fan club for Dobbs, bro, what did you ask me in the third quarter?
What's that?
It was me. I asked you,
You
who's
asked
their
me.
number one receiver.
You go, is there?
Yeah.
Do they have a
yeah.
number one, like a true number one in the future? I said, this guy Romeo Dobbs to me can be special. I really do believe that. I've been saying that, and like it's like clockwork. The very next second to hit another big chunk to this guy, his size, explosiveness, the fact that all these guys are growing up together. Wicks, who's been a great man beater, Reed, who's great inside. And a lot of these guys were not people you thought of. You talk about Dobbs in like the 4th round out of Nevada. Like, you've got loads of talent out there, and you've got more capital to spend this into next year. Like,
I'm gonna put this out there early. Like the script writers, they're a little favorable for Green Bay. It's just like Green Bay, they had a run with Aaron Rodgers, and like they're about to start. They're about to potentially start another run.
Or are they doing
and
things
we're
right?
watching it.
Yeah.
Are they doing things right? You know, I think the script favors the teams that take their time with their quarterbacks. I mean, we were looking at that. I want to talk about it more later in the week, but like, look at a lot of the guys that really have taken off in this league. Like, they haven't gotten thrown right in the fire. And I know as a high draft pick, it's fucking hard in the beginning. The expectations are huge, and there's probably a reason you're on that team because they're bad. So, like, your chances of success early on are not high. Add to that the fact that you're the guy that touches the ball every single play. You know, like, every play, you're not only worried about the footwork you have to remember doing a handoff, like, you know, the protections that you have to set, the route combinations, where's this guy going to break this off versus what coverage. Like, God, I could not imagine being 22 years old and being handed the keys to one of the most important franchises in the league, depending on who you get drafted by, the pressure of that thing, the way everybody's looking at you. And so why I'm nervous about high draft picks is it's just tough. And so when you not rest them, but you kind of like phase them in correctly, you at least have a better chance of getting it. I saw Jordan Love play against Kansas City a couple years ago. He did not look like him, right? And maybe if he'd have kept playing another 4 or 5 games in a row, people would have been like, yeah, this guy's toast.
I think it was really important.
I think it says
they were
something.
making on the broadcast about how that offense with Aaron Rodgers. So, like Matt LaFleur, he comes with his Rolodex of plays and his knowledge of the game and offense and installation. And obviously, if you have a ball of clay, it's perfect to pair with your knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, he gets there and it's Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron's like, this is the way I like to do things. You know what I'm saying? So you have to tailor everything you do. So Jordan Love was getting a bite off of a cheeseburger that was cooked for Aaron Rodgers, and now he's cooking with his own brew. Matt LaFleur is able to work that ball of clay, and it seems like they've hit everything the right way with Jordan Love. I mean, people are naked, booty naked, open in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
But there's
Jordan Love's getting rid of that football in time, and when he's not, when he's on his third read,
that's what's important.
And there's guys in his lap, he can make the throw.
That's what separates him to me. Okay, like, you know, you look at like West Coast offenses. If you got a good coach, there's going to be a place to go with the ball. There's going to be an easy answer. But the guys that can extend plays, watch his drop targets. And he's not a bailer. He's not doing things like unsoundly. He just has a really good feel for the pocket. He can make himself a new pocket. He can drift. His eyes are always downfield. And his feet are moving. You know, like he's never just standing in quicksand. I mean, he really does, on some of the arm angle stuff, remind you of Rodgers. I get that. It's a little bit tired at this point. But I think this guy, when he can, with the way they have guys outside that can, after 3 seconds, are going to be open. Like, this offense can get guys open if the down goes 2.5, 3 seconds, and they're all young and they're all growing up together. He's the guy that can get you to that 3-second mark. You know, there's a lot of other quarterbacks that have to do things with timing. He can do things with timing and outside of timing. Like, a perfect example for me, and this is what's so impressive about Green Bay to me, Kyle, is on a couple occasions late in the season, they didn't just beat winning teams on the road. They fucking kicked their asses. They kicked Detroit's ass on Thanksgiving in a big spot, right? And what did they do in that game? They dictated the tempo of that game. They were the front runners in that game. They made it a point to take a shot right off the bat.
That's their MO right
They
now.
made it a point to we're going to play from ahead because we can run the ball. We have Aaron Jones. He looks good, the whole thing. They're kicking guys' asses front side, the 3 techniques. We knew that there was a way for them to run the football, but they did. But they came out and jumped these guys. And what they're doing is they're defining that moment of truth for teams early. And what happens when that happens is teams get tight. Quarterbacks get tight. Decision makers get tight. Dan got tight in that Detroit game. Jared got tight in that Detroit game. They did things that were uncharacteristic. And whether you think this is who Dak is or he isn't, those picks are not what he was all season long. And I thought they did a great job of defining that moment of truth. Okay, for the Cowboys, it was being down 14 at the beginning of the second quarter. And you don't know when it's coming, but this is your last shot. Okay, they go 9 plays, 39 yards, get sacked. And then this was the drive of the game for me. You can put these guys away. They back you up. 10 plays, 93 yards. Kyle, the first third down was a 3rd and 2. I think they have Wicks coming across the formation shallow. He trips. I think he's the primary. And Jordan Love, you know, a lot of quarterbacks are like, fuck, what do? I burn it. These backers are really fast. Oh, shit, I'm running out of room. He just buys an extra 3 seconds, hits a tight end, first down. He hit 3 third downs on that drive, and they were all different and spectacular. There was one that was spectacularly bad because Dallas has got their best corner on a tight end outside on a 3rd and 4. He's given him 8 yards cushion, so a little bit of his Dan Quinn in this defense. But the 3rd and 7 to Wicks, man coverage, blitz, clockwork, bro. And you talk about Dobbs. Kyle, you talk about Love, you talk about the receivers. He can't do this without Aaron Jones, not just on the ground, but blitz pickup and cleaning people
I've been
up.
waiting to say this
Kyle,
for like 10
this
minutes.
is sick. This is sick.
There was I give so much credit to
Yeah.
Aaron Jones
Yeah.
for setting the tempo because you can account for their DBs, their rush
Yeah.
with scheme. You can account for how we're going to establish our identity with the run game. But one thing that's up in the air until it happens is what happens when number 11's got a head of steam and nobody's blocking him and Aaron Jones is assigned to him. Well, Aaron Jones went
He stood up.
and he hit him in the ribs so hard. And you saw Micah go down, and it was like, if it bleeds, we can kill it. I mean, Aaron Jones, not only on the ground with the football in his hand, but without the football and allowing his quarterback to throw it.
That was a huge deal. You thought like that on that drive, they don't hit the chunk to
You saw it.
I love it.
they don't hit the chunk to
He
Dobbs.
fucked him up.
They don't hit that chunk to Dobbs on that very drive, which was a huge drive, without him cleaning up for Zach Tom. That's the guy's name, Zach Tom.
Zach Tom. It
Zach
seems
Tom
like a
with number
user-generated
50.
name.
They just Madden creative player. You want any swag? Nah.
Zach
number
Tom,
50.
50.
He's got 2 first names. Micah beat him, and people make a big deal about the Micah. Skip Bayless, who is a fucking clown. Okay, if you want me to be serious. Okay, he's a fucking clown. And after the game,
Low life.
he's talking about he's after the game. We need Shane Gillis in here. Loser. After the game, he's going at Micah. He's saying he should get on his podcast. Do you know maybe the best thing about that defense is Micah Parsons and Tank Lawrence?
Yeah.
Okay? Like, the thing holding them together for the most part. And if you're in the chat and you don't like Micah, that's fine. I'm an Eagles fan. I happen to like Micah. I happen to like Tank Lawrence.
We just don't like outspoken players.
You
right?
cannot.
That's kind
No,
of,
I don't. No, I don't
No,
care.
I'm projecting. I'm saying we. Like, I tend to not like outspoken players.
But Micah doesn't-
I understand why people would be rubbed the wrong way by a player with a podcast.
But that's not
ironically
what. But
enough.
that's not even where I'm going. What
But
I'm
he's
sa-
the best player.
What
He
I'm
played
saying,
well.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, well, no. Skip's mad at him because 19 pass rushes. He doesn't get home. Okay. But that's just numbers. Look at the fucking tape.
Yes.
Look at the play action. Look at the run game. And look at the fact that you barely got any. And this is the thing. When you're down in a game, people don't understand this. That's why it's hard to get sacks on a team that's getting their ass kicked in the run game and is down for most of the game. I know how that is. 8 years of my career was that. Okay? So you want to know why I have a chip on my shoulder? It's because of shit like that. Okay? Games like that, and I was never Micah, but when they decide to take somebody away in a situation like that, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get a lot of clean one-on-ones.
Not
And
much
when you
can
do
watch
and you
Tyreek
win,
against City.
he could have fucking earholed Jordan Love, but Aaron Jones cleaned up for Zach Tom.
Yes.
So, like, when you look at something and Skip Bayless is like, hey, you didn't do anything in the pass rush, look at the tape. They did a good job of keeping those rushes off Jordan Love, and so Micah Parsons happened to be the guy that looks like he didn't do anything, but a lot of the game plan, I guarantee you, is predicated on taking him away.
I'm going to make a callback to a really good Packers pass protector,
Yeah.
John Kuhn. Remember him, Chris? The
Yeah.
fullback?
Yeah.
He would fucking clean up those.
He was a
animals,
beast.
man. Like,
He was
he'd
a
come
beast.
across that formation. I think
Yeah.
it must be a Packers thing, just having
Yeah.
good pass protection from backs
It's so funny. People are just talking shit to
and
each
Hall of Fame
other.
quarterbacks.
Eddie Lacy crushed me.
I love Eddie
Just
Lacy.
destroyed
What
me in
happened?
preseason.
Oh,
chipped
he
me.
hit you. Okay.
He chipped the
I thought
fucking
he
Chip
roasted
block.
you.
But people in the chat are just arguing with each other. This is the one bad thing about having like Niners and Packers in there is like people in the chat just arguing with each other about their franchises, like eternally. They're like Highlander Beach. You guys have never won an argument with each other. Why are you even doing it? Just enjoy the show. Like, I love you all, man.
Hang out, have a
I love you all.
latte, chill the fuck out.
I love you all, guys.
I
I love you all.
Miller
But here's
Lite.
the deal. Here's the deal. Jordan loves the truth. Aaron Jones was huge for them, and Dallas has a problem in the middle. We knew that the run game would get to him, and Dak cannot handle zone the same way that the split safety look that went to like cover one with a robber on that pick six, which is basically like that guy
what they call
rotates
him,
down late and just he poaches
Hole
something.
player.
He poaches something in that area of the field. That dude picked him. I don't think Dak even checked. And, like it seemed nitpicky to me. Some people thought it was nitpicky when they played the Giants this year and he threw a bad pick and they're blowing him out. And we said, those are the plays you gotta just eliminate. And people are like, they won the game by 40, but a play like that can kill you in the playoffs. And that's what happened right after they went down 21-0. It just puts the game on ice.
He looked off before the game and the live stream started. Like I made a joke when they showed Dak on the bench, and I was like, "Look at Dax. He looks like a person that's about to get ready to throw a pick.
Dax.
that's about to get ready to throw a pick." And what does he do? First drive. He threw a pick. They just looked. They looked
out of
weird.
sorts.
They look weird. And then
I think
what I was saying.
Him with the
Did
return?
But Kyle, like for you as an offensive lineman, if you see your star receiver drop one pass and it immediately go to the bench and is hanging his head, is that not dejecting to see as a
That's not
teammate?
the body language you want to see early. And
No,
you know what?
that's not the body language you want to see in the playoffs at all.
You know what it says? And on the other side of things, Micah's like, why do we get all this hate? And the unfortunate thing is, Micah, you're not like the Dallas Cowboys. Come on over to the good side. The Eagles could use
I know.
rusher.
I think
you're from PA.
I think that's the issue. It's just like why does Micah have to be on that team?
You'd say you'd go with Dan Quinn. All right, bring Dan Quinn up to Philly. Okay. Now here's the deal, dude. Here's the deal. After a while, it becomes who you are. And I'm not talking about you, Micah. I'm talking about the team. And so it's valiant for you to stick up for the team when people are piling on the team or the quarterback. But there's a long history here. And I think those players, although they haven't been in every one of those games, they feel that, like when you're on a team and things always go wrong and one little thing goes wrong.
You're like, here we go.
And again, it's like a mind fuck.
So you think they really some of those guys are buying into the Cowboys curse? Like you think guys really
Whether they say it outwardly or not.
I asked Melanie Collins yesterday on our show.
Yeah.
I said, they were like, ask a football question. And I was like, no, I want to ask the question I'm going to ask. And I was like, Melanie, I know that football history-rich teams struggle to match those expectations. I dealt with it in Chicago all the time. We always heard about the 85.
Like charter franchises and franchises that have a long run
I
of
was like, is this the team that's going to buck that trend? Because I'm just not convinced yet, to the points that we've talked about surrounding Dak, and then obviously the injuries and just not being able to adjust. Matt LaFleur figured it out. He was like, we're going to get the ball first and we're going to score. And that'll fucking
which says everything.
Poke a hole in their paper airplane.
Which says everything. And that's how and Kyle, it's a great point because that's exactly what I was saying. They want to play from ahead. And it'll be interesting to see to me how aggressive they are up in San Francisco. Don't change anything.
Like they didn't account for that.
Don't change anything. Okay?
They were like, there's no way they're going to.
And I think San Francisco is a fine football team. I think they're a really good football team. I think they could win it all. But I also think they're a team that Green Bay can play with.
Yep.
Woo! I do.
Yeah,
I do. Hey, I might be wrong about this, but we put a social out this morning, by the way.
No,
I think I went 6 for 6 this weekend to this point.
Yo, you're saying it right. Like if they go in there with the mentality, hey, like we know you guys are gonna try to come punch us in the mouth. We're actually gonna try to throw a punch.
I said play
and
with
punch you in the mouth.
I'm not picking Green Bay to win the game.
They're gonna be like
I'll tell you my pick later in the week.
Exactly.
I gotta look at more tape. That's the thing about like picking something on a Monday. But when I tell you last night, I looked at the line at 10 points and I was like, it took everything in my power not to hammer that at 1 a.m. I'm just gonna take a deep breath. And if you bet a dog, you want to bet the dog later in the week. If you want a favorite, get on it right
Chardonnay
now.
back?
Okay.
Chardonnay. How do you say his name?
What'd you say?
What kind of dog?
An underdog.
How do you say his name for real?
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet. When's he back?
Zach
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet, the running back for the
He's
Seahawks?
back next year.
No,
Who are you thinking
Green
about?
Bay.
Oh, you're thinking about
A.J. Dillon?
A.J. Dillon. It's okay.
Okay, I'm
Zach,
wrong.
It's okay. That's a beautiful thing.
Zach Charbonnet's on
That's a
vacation.
beautiful thing to hear somebody say, "Okay, I'm wrong." I don't
That
get
was
that a lot at
cool.
home.
It was cathartic.
I don't get that a lot at home. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Dylan.
you know,
Yeah.
none of us do.
What's going on?
So, but yeah, no. What AJ Dillon would be a big lift. I don't know when he's coming back. I think Aaron Jones is enough, right? But to me,
But Aaron Jones,
You also
we've
know-
seen him go in and out of that lineup. We saw what happened week 1. Now he's
LaFleur's
got 4 games in a row of over 130.
Because that's the only thing
That's a lot of load. For
LaFleur's a
Aaron.
good coach, man. The biggest question to me yesterday was when you asked me at 14-0 and I was checking off Green Bay on my little bet sheet and you were like, don't do it. And you were like, what do you think about this game? And I said, it's over. And we're on a live stream. And I'm like, fuck, am I going to get – but no, because you come out and you see that the defense wasn't going to be a huge problem.
Yeah.
That to me was everything. If the game plan that you're running matches up well and if the guys show up and play like Jair Alexander showed up and played, the captain made a big play.
Yeah, he did.
I
think they should make. I think they should throw him a bone and make him a captain. Do you
They
think
should make him a captain.
They definitely should.
He's got family in the bag. He didn't know that.
Yeah, coach must not have understood that.
All right, so I guess we're going.
But LaFleur did run out for
What?
Jair.
Yeah.
He went down. First guy that was not training staff was Matt
Yeah,
LaFleur.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
some inside baseball
Yeah,
there.
that's good.
They're
How do you
to each other?
How do you feel
DJ
about
Fleck would have ran out faster.
How do you feel about late in the game you taking your starters out and then seeing what's happening and getting nervous and putting your starters back in?
I think it's okay. I think it's fine. It's all about probability when you take guys out. You just don't want to deal with the probability of somebody rolling an ankle or getting hurt.
I love when people are like, take the starters out. I'm like, well, who's going to play O-line? I'm like,
Me and
there's
Matt
only
were getting
6
this
of us.
thing. Matt was ready to pull Jordan Love like at 24-0.
There's only 6 of us.
I was like, man, I needed to be a little. I've seen crazy shit happen, and like part of this is you got to keep the pressure on. That's what they do so well when they're up. Let's continue to talk about the NFC, like because this game here, Detroit and LA. First off,
I don't want to talk about it.
really.
Detroit, what?
I mean, obviously don't hate the Packers as much as I hate the Lions because I've been glazing our guy all morning, but I just can't stand the Detroit thing and the fourth quarter antics with the old knee missile really leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
You didn't like that hit, and let's start with the hit because that was first off brutal game, physical game.
Great game,
guys.
great game. If you're a football fan, woo!
Kyle, I don't remember the last wild card game I enjoyed watching as much as that game. Those two quarterbacks, the coaches, the drama. It felt like the Rams were on a razor thin edge the whole game, trying to stay in it, but Matt kept making throws.
It was vintage.
Kyle, it was
magnum opus. Matt Stafford
and Jared stepped up, man, and like so all the storylines great. But
Matt got knocked out. Matt's hand was gushing blood on the first.
He was
his
definitely
hands
concussed.
gushing blood. The guy's like Buddy Lee. Do you know Buddy Lee?
Yeah, the jeans.
He's basically Buddy Lee, that little man that you can't kill him because he was knocked out on the field. And I know some people are going to say, hey, that's just unsafe and the whole thing. And I agree, that's unsafe.
Yeah, you don't care about player safety. Come on. You're broadcasting the eyes rolling back, and you're not going to have the UNC call in and be like, hey, I'm here at the game. I'm in the suite where you told me to sit. But I'm also watching the game on my phone, and I noticed that Matt Stafford, the quarterback for the Rams, his eyes are rolling back in his head, and his fingers are throwing up crip signs.
Yeah.
So let's get him out of the football game.
You're not in Detroit anymore.
Because I'm the unaffiliated neuro consultant.
Nice.
And that's my job.
You nailed that acronym. That should be the test. What am I? And if you can't say it,
And
you're
it says a
concussed.
lot about our league that's not our opening story.
Well, I know. It says a lot about our league. And the
We're
league,
worried about the knee, not the head.
the fact that the league, don't tell me the league didn't know. The league could have called down and been like, yo, we just saw him fencing, guys. Like, let's get him off the field.
Fencing.
But he also did the
not
thing.
crip.
He did the thing that if you hear Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman talk about this, Aiden brought this up, which is a really good point, when they had like a deal. And right or wrong, you at home might think it's barbaric and the whole thing, but did you turn the game off? Okay? Didn't think so. Because I would have tried to play too if I was Matt Stafford. You can tell me. That's why you got
100%.
That's why you got to take the guy off the field. I remember I got a concussion in San Francisco once, and I was pretty sure I got a concussion. And they asked me where we were, and I nailed it so good. I was like, we're in fuck, I can't remember now.
We're outside
San
the
Jose
stadium.
or wherever. It's a trick question because we're not in San Francisco. They moved the team. We're not at the old stadium. But the whole point is, like, Danny and Jules, they used to have a system where if a guy was dinged, they'd walk over and like you'd hold your arm or your knee. And that's what Matt did. He like came off the field holding his arm.
Yep.
You know,
He tried to
and
trick
I'm
him.
sure everything hurt.
He's such a gangster, dude.
Bro, and I think there's very few quarterbacks, and for Detroit fans, we are going to get there, and we're going to glaze you up.
What you
good.
just said, hold on, I want to pause on what you just said.
Pause.
Because, like, that's some shit I've never heard.
Yeah, I tweeted it
That's
right away.
chess.
If you watch his eyes roll back when he jumps up and he comes to, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like I blacked out. he immediately acts like it's his collarbone
Checkmate.
over his
Are
arm.
you concussed though? If you're capable of executing that plan, okay. So here's the other one. The other injury, which was
He's like,
brutal.
my arm's not hurt.
I don't get queasy watching guys a lot like get hurt, but the fact that Higbee hurt like everything. I remember there was this guy for the Texans that blew 2 ACLs the same play. How do you do that? I don't know. He's an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
And that just makes me like, but watching Higbee walk off, I don't think he realized his knees in whatever shape it is because the top of his body hurt so fucking much. The adrenaline and the pain up top from hitting the turf. And watching him, they cut away. I think he was about to throw up. He was keeled over about to throw up, I think. Now, I can't confirm that. That's just me.
I'm going to throw up.
But that's the hit you want. All you guys that railed against the guy in Pittsburgh when he got thrown out because Pittman is laid out, the playoffs are on the line, it's an explosive play, you're playing for your life, and the guy comes to take the ball off, and the body's where the ball is. Okay, and so everybody gets on their player safety train. Well, that's what you're going to get. And I don't want to hear a word. That's what you're going to get.
I'm going to give you a word.
What's the word?
Play the fucking ball.
Okay, but he's going to get what the guy from Pittsburgh got.
No, but these are different plays.
No, they're not.
In my opinion, they're different plays.
If you hit him up top and dislodge the ball full speed.
Based on where the runner, where their collision point is, where they're coming from, it's not the same play.
Kyle, he probably would have got flagged if he went up top.
There's a bobble happening. There's a bobble happening.
Fine.
You can go play the ball.
No money for
You can hit him in the chest.
I hate
You
it
can hit him
too,
in the hip.
Kyle.
You can hit him in the chest. You can hit him in the hip. You can hit me in the head. Don't make me sit in that training room all
off season. I agree with you, Kyle, but that's the
Don't make my wife have to shower me.
But that's the
for 2
position
months.
that they put guys in.
And then don't fucking flex at my teammates. I empathize with defenders not being able to play the game that they want.
You're
to
not
play.
the person though that's bitching and complaining for 2 weeks about the Pittsburgh guy. Are you?
No.
Okay, so you don't
But
apply.
they're different plays in my opinion.
But you don't apply then to that. So don't take something that's not directed at you and apply it to yourself.
I understand, but the angle of that runner, the angle of the defender, the situation of the bobble.
I agree. There's other places you could hit him. I agree.
There's about 4 or 5 I can count. Some of which are bigger target areas and can slow a motherfucker down quicker than hitting.
I also think, Kyle, that in that player's head and a lot of people's heads, we've seen a lot of low hits that people have issues with. They know exactly what's going to happen if they go high.
I'll pay your fine if you choose not to hit me in the knee.
Okay, let's get on with the game. Let's get
At
on
least
with
we both got our opinions out.
No, I mean, my opinion is just that at least the league is partially responsible for hits like that.
Yes,
Because,
but it's a personal decision.
yeah, it's a personal decision.
And he did it to T.J. Hawkinson.
He did it to TJ too.
So that's what we call a trend.
It is a trend. It is a trend.
And I keep my eyes on trends.
It is a trend. Maybe we should flip the script and don't penalize anything in the midsection, even if you lead with your head, because that's the hardest
That's
thing
what
in
I'm
the world
saying.
to
Hit me in the
litigate.
hips.
Yeah, but
we wear hip pads for Christ's
The problem is when you run full speed at somebody and you lower your target to get to Kyle, I'm not that athletic, right? We've had this argument today.
You are.
I'm not that athletic. If I'm running full speed, I have to really go like this to like hit somebody forcefully.
Yeah.
I used to come down like this. I used to come down and turn my head and go like this. Okay. And if I hit somebody in the wrong place, I get flagged if I was a safety. And so like I just look at that and I say a big spot in the game, it's tough. And then there was a hit on Anzalone had right after that, which was maybe high, but I wouldn't have called that, right? Like I think that's clean football. Okay. But the bottom line is a great game. And playoff wins are huge for people. They're huge for Dan. They're huge for Jared. You got a chance to play every playoff game inside now. Like there's a chance. If Green Bay, you're the biggest Green Bay fans in the world, you could be playing every game at home for everything they've been through. They could play every game at home. They could play every game under a roof effectively the rest of the playoffs. And we knew, listen, this isn't taking a shot at Jared or the Lions, but they weren't going to be as good outside in the elements. The numbers back that up. Okay, so this isn't hate. I'm super happy. Brad Holmes is a guy that I used to work with. Brad Holmes is an awesome dude. He's been on this show. Watching him in that elevator after the game screaming, like he just couldn't contain himself. And you know why?
He got one of the game balls from Campbell too.
And he deserves one of the game balls. You know why? Because the top pick made the Pro Bowl. Okay, not that that's necessarily, but he had the biggest holding call in Detroit Lions history, right? He drew that holding call, which changed the game completely for them last end of the game. Tackle's an all-pro. You got a coach who's got the balls to throw on 2nd and 8, really. And you got a wide receiver you trust to catch the ball. And ultimately, you have a quarterback that, as imperfect as he might be at times, he is good enough for Detroit. And I think that's fucking awesome that they stuck the landing on it. And for Lions fans, I asked them after the game, what time do the bars close? And a lot of them said Tuesday. And that just tells you where they're at. But here's the deal with the Lions. They came out and handled the assignment perfectly. But the assignment did not include dealing with a lot of pressure. Okay, and that's the difference between the Rams and some other teams. I thought Aaron Donald would give them maybe more problems.
Same.
But they did a good job. They got enough bodies. They're a good unit that, you know, somebody else would have had to
The
win.
single blocks elsewhere were good enough to allow to account for.
That's exactly right.
99.
That's exactly right.
And I tip my hat to those guys.
And Kyle, 15 pressures for the Rams. That's not enough. As soon as you could tell they weren't going to get there.
I was eating crow in like the second quarter when I was watching these guys just stand up to bull rushes on an island. I was like, fuck. Because all week I was like, hey, look, you can account for 99, but who's going to account for Kobe Turner?
Yeah, well, and those guys aren't proven to the degree that AD is. And so, like, you know, 15 pressures is not enough. Goff, the ball didn't hit the fucking ground until the second quarter. He went 22 for 22 when he wasn't pressured for 277. He'll do that. I think he's a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But under pressure, he's not as good. And if you can't put the pressure on him, you're not going to have a chance. The most attempts without an incompletion since 2009, since he started tracking that stat of not being under pressure. The ball didn't hit the ground till the second. The run game kept LA in a 5-man front, if you'll notice. And, you know, the fact that they were chipping off 5-7 yards on a pop on the ground.
It was an explosive run.
It's 3 in the middle. It's 2 overhangs. And those overhangs end up in some tough coverage spots because you align your defense like that. So, you know, the run game.
There was no panic on the other sideline, though.
No panic.
We saw that Detroit was scoring at will. It was like, holy fuck. Not only are the guys showing up with the right energy, the fans were remarkable, and it was cool to see for Detroit, but the scheme, Ben Johnson's scheme is awesome, coupled with guys making plays. Laporta was obviously sleeping in a cryo chamber for the last week.
Tough guy, man. You know, you don't think about just.
I didn't like the matchup with Hoyt.
I didn't like that either. If you can keep those guys in base, and we've said this all year, like those linebackers are not great coverage guys, and so the run game dictated that in some situations. But here's what I thought. The Rams had a golden opportunity down 21-17. And like I said, they were on a razor's edge like the whole game. They had to go on 4th down in the first half, like 4th and medium. They got it. But 21-17, they're going to get the ball out of the half. So, Kyle, you know, Detroit has the ball with like a couple minutes to go. Jared Goff does the thing. There's pressure on him. He throws the ball like backwards. And you're like, okay, first off, you didn't capitalize on Goff doing the thing. Mm-hmm. And then it's 3rd and 15 at like the 35, and you give up a back-breaking conversion. And the difference between punting at the 35 and the opposite 45, which is what Detroit eventually did with a minute left, is LA can't get a real possession in there. There was a chance if they got that stop that the next time they give the Rams back the ball would be 31-21, the way they were playing. And so they come out of the half, they don't get points, and Detroit, 21-17, they got a 3rd and long. They checked down to Laporta, who gutted it out, as you said, and he gutted out 5 extra yards to make that kick like something you're confident in doing. So they go up 24-17, and that to me...
He put that Gronk leg on.
He did. But 24-17, that to me defines the second half.
Yeah.
It defines the play in the second half. And if you want to win that game, you had to jump out on top in that 2-for-1. Now, McVay had a shot late, and I still think they could have won that game. But here's my question for people at home and for you and Nate. If you're Sean McVay and you're deciding to run the play clock down and take your time, it's not like they were in a hurry on that drive. I kind of agree. You're down 1. You don't want to give them the ball back, up 2 if you end up kicking a field goal. So you want to make this the last possession if you can in a perfect world. But if you're willing to punt, why do that? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you're willing to punt, and it ends up being, and Hutchinson's hold is huge, but on 3rd and long, and I know they were aggressive on 3rd and long, why not take a check down, pick up 7-8 yards, make a decision on a kick or a go? That, to me, was the biggest mistake of the game, was on 3rd and long, being too aggressive there, knowing that if you didn't get it, you were going to punt. And if you're willing to punt, then why are you taking your sweet time? Because they never got the ball back.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for coaches in the moment, it's just you got to pull the trigger on something. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like if they go for it, or if he chooses to do something else and the outcome ends up being the same, then like
Yeah, no question. But give yourself a chance to make that decision is all I'm saying. Like I understand they're aggressive. That's who they are, and they got PI on that, and it wasn't called. And fans all over the league, whether you're a Miami fan or you're an LA fan, you're going to point to calls that didn't get made. But in all these games, I can find calls on the other side. Like Detroit might go in and score and go up 28-17 before the half if they don't blow that offsides call. So there's attack in your column, there's attack in the other team's column. I just don't want to hear about the refs. I thought it was an amazing game. Two amazing quarterbacks. And
Jared Goff was just stone cold.
Jared Goff deserves a lot of love and respect,
Can
man.
we mention Puka Nakua? He deserves a lot of
He's incredible.
He's a superstar.
He's
we're
incredible.
so spoiled with great football yesterday that we haven't said the words Puka or Nakua
That's
yet.
crazy.
And he was just
The guy's so big.
unreal.
He's so big. He's like if you put Danny Amendola in a bigger body.
His face is like a
reminds me of.
Disney character face, just like perfect jaw. He was just the bottom of a pile of 5 kids his entire life, apparently. He's used to being tackled. And he was like, I just do best with people on my back.
Yeah,
That's really how I roll.
And Puka, Kyle, has a face for a Hall of Fame bust.
Yes.
He really does. I can see the bust right now. He's such a unique face that you're just like, he just looks like, like he looks like an all-time great to me.
Yep.
And I can see like in 15 years, we're like Puka Nakua, 45-year-old or 38-year-old Puka Nakua.
But I
He might
also
be a Hall
think
of Famer.
that, some guys
Got a good face.
Some guys play a style of football that's tough to sustain.
Yeah.
I think he's got a little bit of that.
That's
to
tough.
him, too.
Yeah, it is tough. It is
And
tough. He's going to be beat up.
as he gets older in the league, he'll invent new ways to play too, and that'll extend it. But it's tough when you're getting hit every play like that.
And I want to say this last thing about Matt Stafford before we move on, man. Like, I do feel like everybody, when he was in Detroit, it was like, yeah, the numbers are cool, but, like, come on, win something. And then he goes to LA and he wins the Super Bowl. And then, there's people like me over the last 2 years that have been like, when's the bottom going to fall out? I just don't know. Like, I thought they should have hit the reset button. I guess I was wrong about that. But ultimately come up short. He's not the reason. Matt Stafford, when you talk to quarterbacks, guy's got a jugs machine on his shoulder. Those guys last a long time. And I didn't take that into account. The balls he threw last night, put them in a time capsule. It's incredible what he did last night. And I know we're talking about Jared, and he's awesome. But Matt Stafford deserves a lot of respect, and I feel like he's one of the few quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks do you respect more as their career goes on? I respect Matt Stafford more after that game than I have his entire career. And that's just who he is. When you watch the Detroit games mic'd up on Inside the NFL, there's a play where he gets dumped and he's like, shoulder.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then he's back on the field. Like, the guy, you can't kill him. He deserves
That's
a lot
one
of
of the
respect.
vintage mic'd ups.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
go list of quarterbacks that I respect more than Matt Stafford?
I don't know if the list is long.
Okay, I'll say it.
Okay. Let's go to the AFC.
Let's hear from our friends at Miller Lite.
Oh,
first.
Miller Lite first. You ready? Okay. Whatever you're looking forward to this football season, there's one thing that pairs well with every great moment, an ice-cold Miller Lite. Whether you're at the stadium playing fantasy football or watching the game at home or the bar, Miller Lite is here to make your football season taste like Miller time. From kickoff till the clock runs out, you can't go wrong with a Miller Lite in your hand, the only light beer with a taste worthy of our national obsession, because what's the point of having a beer if it doesn't taste like, well, beer? It's got 96 calories and 3.2 carbs for 12-ounce serving with a smooth taste and a crisp, clean finish. You get the taste you crave without the calories. So this season, crack open a beer that hits your taste buds so hard you feel it in your heart. Make it Miller time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/greenlight, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs for 12 ounces. Because I got to watch my figure. Let's talk about the AFC.
Speaking of watching our figure,
Yeah,
I brought a suit up to New York
yeah,
for my show.
yeah. Didn't fit?
I put the pants on.
Oh, boy.
Great.
Yeah.
That's usually the key indicator.
Uh-huh.
Pants fit.
Uh-huh.
And I put my jacket on, and I did the shoulder thing, and I went to put it on. I heard a rip. And I was like, fuck. And so I took it off, and I mean, it wasn't a little rip. It was like the entire seam down the back of my jacket. Beautiful green jacket split. So I had to put on some wrinkly stuff from
Kyle, you've had a tough time traveling over the last 2 weeks.
The
with
traveling's not the
abduction
hard
and
part.
and the suit thing.
the dressing. and
I
stuff.
forgot my suit last weekend inside the NFL. I had to wear Sal Palantonio's suit basically. Yeah, dude, it was sick. It was sick. I was out there like I was dominating Jay Cutler with somebody else's suit.
That's amazing.
He was shook, dude. He
You
was
can just
shook.
wear other people's suits?
Yeah, there's like a lot of suits just sitting there.
I can't do that.
So anyway, yeah, I know that's because you're 101, dog. You know, there's other people built like your boy. There's only one Kyle Long.
Yep.
All right. So all right, here we go. Let's talk about the AFC. Let's start with Cleveland, Houston. Listen, this played out how we thought it might, just not to the degree of the blowout. Like we said a couple things coming in this game. Go back to the previews. This is what we said. Cleveland can't turn the ball over. When you talk about Cleveland, how many teams in the past 10 years have been in the Super Bowl with a minus turnover differential? It's not a lot of them. The turnovers are the thing that eventually sunk them. Don't be afraid of Cleveland's run game. If you're Houston, they are not who they seem to be if you just are a casual fan or you don't watch tape. As the course of the season's gone on, they've had injuries. They have not been able to lean on that run game the same. And it's not Nick Chubb back there, right? So don't be afraid of the run game. They were not, and they took care of business, 56 yards for Cleveland on the ground. And take the pressure off of C.J. Stroud. They got the ball out quick, like 2-4, 10 pressures, no sacks. Come on, dude. I mean, that's great. That a lot of that's Slowick, a lot of that's C.J. Stroud. The offensive line deserves props. Laramie Tunsil got hurt on an extra point.
That was
And
a freak play.
Totally freak play.
And I thought it was on the touchdown
Yeah.
because they showed Tunsil hurt, and it was immediately after the touchdown. But you know how it goes. Sometimes they don't even show the extra points. So you don't get to
Extra
see it.
points are more unsafe than outdoor football.
I hate extra points.
So here's the deal. Tunsil's out for a little bit, and you're like, man, they really need to figure something out because at this point, this game's still back and forth. Like,
The Laramie Tunsil without a helmet on,
Yeah.
aesthetic,
yeah.
is like a 90s. It's like an Any Given Sunday character.
Yes. Yes.
Gold hoop earring.
Yes, he's
shaved
central
head,
casting.
no beard.
Central casting Any Given Sunday, especially with the gas mask on. But here's the deal. When he was down, you were worried about being able to protect C.J. Stroud in the event that this continues to be a shootout. And what they did is they moved the pocket. They did creative things to get C.J. Stroud on the move, and they weathered that storm, and they kicked their asses, man. And I think, Slowick deserves a lot of credit. He's going to be a head coach at some point.
Is he a little guy?
I don't know.
He looks kind of. I mean, I don't know if they have like a really far away camera in Houston, but I feel like every time
A faraway camera.
yeah, like he just doesn't look. He's not a huge guy, and neither's LaFleur, but he plays with a
Listed
massive
at-
set of nuts.
Listed at 5'10", 170.
5'10",
on the
170,
Michigan
pretty
Tech.
average.
Yeah, he's
rough.
pretty average.
He's diabolically average.
Diabolically, but not average when it comes to pre-snap
No,
motion. That
no.
was huge.
No.
It forced Cleveland to have really bad eye discipline. And C.J. Stroud, I can squarely put him in this category. And you can say I'm jumping out of the gym, but
Hall of Fame.
no, but we've been talking about this all, and I do think eventually, sure. But you talk about quarterbacks and the conversation Cam Newton has, and I put quarterbacks in two categories. There's this category and that category. You can call that
because of.
You can call that category something else, but I think you put it well. There's 6 guys in the NFL that I put in that category right now. I put Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Stafford, and C.J. Stroud in a category, and they are separate from the rest of the quarterbacks.
Jordan Love.
All your and Jordan Love at the beginning of next year, however this ends, people are going to be talking about, is he one of those guys, and we'll find out. The sample size is too small. C.J. Stroud, though, it's his first year, dude, with a rookie head coach, a defensive head coach. They lost Tank Dell. They weren't a talented team to start the year objectively, and they just beat Cleveland at home, a team that a lot of people thought matched up really well with them, and I think they got a shot this weekend. I'll just say that. I'm not going to count them out.
And they've got a bunch of guys. They've acquired a bunch of guys throughout the, whatever it was, this past offseason, this season. They got Adrian Amos out there. There's a guy named DeAndre Houston Carson who's in their secondary. And I was in Chicago with DHC. You were there as well. He was didn't say a word. He was the hardest worker on the team. He won all the conditioning drills. He was a core 4 guy.
Yeah.
Not a starter on defense, but now you see him out there, and he's a core part of their defense.
Yeah.
That's a guy that pays attention to meetings.
Yeah.
That's a D'Amico Ryans type guy.
D'Amico Ryan's guy.
So those, you're seeing the cream rise to the top as it pertains to whether it's it's not a lack of talent, but it's an influx of whatever the word
Think
is.
about
moxie, intelligence, football IQ.
Think about guys like Christian Harris, who's a newer piece. He's played really well down the stretch. I think Denzel Perryman has played well for them this year, a veteran addition. The secondary is quietly, although they gave up a bunch of deep balls and play action's been tough for them, I think they've got some players out there that you can build, with.
How about Derek Barnett?
Derek Barnett. Think about my guy, Derek Barnett Gumby. I FaceTimed him yesterday. I was so
Vols.
happy. Derek Barnett got run out of Philly, and I've always been a Derek Barnett fan. And I think for a first-round pick, it's hard. Like Kyle's been there, I've been there. The standard's going to be higher for you. You're going to get more opportunities, but the standard is way higher. And Barnett was a big part of our run in 2017, and I thought he was a really good football player, and more importantly, one of my favorite dudes. Like, he's a great person, and he busts his ass and he plays hard. The thing that he would do was he would get some penalties. He would be, on offsides or stupid personal foul. But I'd rather say whoa than sick him. And Derek Barnett is always somebody that you haven't had to tell sick him, because he is aggressive. He'll play the run. He's a good pass rusher, and getting this fresh start for him is awesome. And he's part of a great group, and he stepped up in the postseason. This to me was like, if you know what he's been through, and Philly fans should love the guy too, because he's a part of Super Bowl history for Philly. He made huge plays for them yesterday. That was awesome. I FaceTimed him in the car yesterday. Got to see his big smiling mug, dude. I love that kid, and so happy for him. But here's the deal. When it comes to Cleveland's defense, the question that everybody's finally getting wise to is, why were they so much worse on the road? We talked about it all year, and JJ asked the question after the game. I think the answer is tough to pin down, but I had a theory, and it sounded kind of a crazy theory that I was going to work off of. Number one, we know the rush is really good, right? You're always going to get a bump from a great rush at home. But Cleveland, you've played there, Kyle.
Yep.
That grass is slow.
It's like Chicago.
So if you're manning somebody up, I think it's probably a little bit easier to play man on that surface. Now, that's my galaxy brain theory.
There's a lot of credence to that. I mean,
Okay.
I can tell you from a coverage standpoint, offensive linemen are coverage elements within the offense on defensive
It's
line.
easier on thick
So
grass.
it's funny because at O-line, D-line, we are the DBs and you are the receivers.
Yes.
And you're running routes.
Yes.
And I'm trying to stick with you. It's a lot harder for me to stick with you in Houston.
And of course, Kyle, and they've only played
I want you to be in the farm field with me.
They played 5 games on turf this year. The results were all in the 20s and 30s, except for the Tennessee game where they played Tannehill. They held them to 3 at that stadium, which is inexplicably turf. But I looked at average separation. I got friends with Next Gen Stats Access. Okay, separation 3.4 yards at home. That's 15th in the league. Away 3.7 yards, which is a big difference. That's 28th in the league. So the coverage isn't as good on the road. And then the Cleveland open target rate is 53% on the road. That's 3rd highest in the league, which jumps from the low 40s at home. So there's a big difference in how much
0.3 yards
separation.
is a lot.
That's a lot, okay? Now the question is, and this is the next step, you want to peel the onion a little further, the average time to pressure, follow me here because rush and coverage go hand in hand. What's the chicken, what's the egg in this situation? The average time to pressure, 17th on the road, home is 1st.
Wow.
Okay, so that's a big difference, right? And, I look at Jim Schwartz's defense, and I played for Jim Schwartz. When we played good quarterbacks, sometimes we struggled on the back end. But on top of that, I also think his defense is predicated on, it's mostly about the guys up front. They talked about him doing a good job against Shanahan, which is a little bit unexpected. His groups have done well against Shanahan. You also have to look at some of the quarterbacks we played in those situations when I was a part of the team, but also some of the quarterbacks he played when Shanahan was an OC or a head coach somewhere else. But more than anything, the reason they give those guys fits, Kyle, is because of penetration.
There's 2 types of defensive linemen. There's readers and there's penetrators. And that's one of the first things that young offensive linemen struggle with that O-line coaches preach. It's like, hey, you're doing this technique wrong.
Yes.
It's not about you. Who are you playing against?
Yes.
And they're like, what does 96 like to do? Well, 96 is a jetter. That changes the offense. And you say against Shanahan's offense, a lot of that stuff is zone-based.
Sideline to sideline.
Sideline to sideline.
Gap penetration
If you
kills
cut
zone.
a knife through that, then you're in trouble as an offense.
And I think there's that. And then I also think, if you look at 2017 when we had Schwartzy, points per game in Philly, we gave up 12 points a game at home. We gave up 24 on the road. So actually, our defense was better. But and we didn't have Myles Garrett. But here's the deal. I think his scheme is if you have a dominant rush group, which they are at home, but they're not on the road, coverage gets made to look a lot better on the back end because they play so much man.
You get tips and overthrows.
Yeah.
And underthrows.
I looked at everything. I looked at turnovers. I thought maybe that the offense was turning the ball over more on the road and it was leading to more short fields. Not so. It's just if I look at this, I say, hey, listen, the straw that stirs the drink is the front.
You're right.
And if the front's not getting home as much on the road because they don't have a silent count, and it's just the way it is, then those guys in the back end are going to get exposed a little bit. So, on turf, they gave up 45, 22, 35, and 24, and then 3 to the Titans. So, I don't know. Maybe it's the grass. It always could be the grass, Kyle. That's what I always say.
The truthers, they want this thing on speed turf and indoors.
Yeah, maybe they're the indoor team, ironically. They want to build a dome in Cleveland and keep Jim Schwartz around. But another thing is, a lot of these defensive coaches, and I think Raheem Morris did a great job all year with that group. I think he deserves a lot of credit. I think what he did is more impressive than what Dan Quinn did. Those are two guys that are interviewing for jobs, right? And I think that thing shows up
Quinn
too.
moved down the Rolodex after.
I don't know though, because this always happens. Guys that are interviewing, their team doesn't play as well, and then you look at Jim Schwartz, who wants an interview. It's going to be hard to get one with the way that group played. And so, unless you have a ready-made, dominant defensive line in your town and you're looking for a DC, I wouldn't. Miami and KC. Kyle,
What about it?
where do we want to start? Ask me something.
What did I have written down first for this one?
Just ask me something. I'll tell you, because this is a game that
Can we talk about Kansas City first, and then we can talk about the 19 and under?
Sure. Here's the deal.
Because it's true.
They had an advantage in multiple areas. They had an advantage in the cold. Okay, those guys, I know this cliche, but you could tell when you watch the game, like the very first third down, 27 for the Chiefs is going bowling in the alley, dude. He's just head down. I'm going to fucking take some bodies out with me. And guys were Pacheco on the ground, the guys on the front, like they had an advantage in the elements, even though they were dropping the ball. And I will say this. I thought if you were going to tell me coming out of this game that they were going to have like 4 drops and it was going to come from one guy, who do you think I would have said I'd rather it be?
We know the answer.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's not going to do that
He's
again.
not going to do it twice.
Okay, so that's good. I also thought if you want to encapsulate this game in one human being, it's L'Jarius Sneed, who might be one of my favorite players in the league. He might be top 3 for me.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm not saying he's top 3
I've been
player.
beating this drum for some time.
We love L'Jarius Sneed, bro.
From the day I met him in Kansas City. Well, I never met him. He doesn't talk.
He doesn't
just
talk.
plays football. That's all he does.
He just plays football. But you know what he did? On one of those third downs and we'll talk about the penalties, it moved from 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 13 after a cheetah false start. He jammed this motherfucker so good, and I posted it online, and it kind of went off a little bit because I don't know that everybody saw it, but he jammed him into the ground. Okay, like the physicality that they play with. There was a ball in the third quarter, I think, that took forever to get out to Waddle, and Snead comes top down on this thing. He slings Waddle out of bounds. Waddle doesn't catch the ball. This is my favorite moment of the game, Kyle. He slings Waddle out of bounds. Waddle doesn't do anything. Snead stands there, turns towards the sideline. He's on the opposing sideline.
Yes.
They're all huddled up in their coats, and he stands there until the refs are ready to move him off of their
They're
sideline.
like, let's go. And then he leaves with no
He's
protest.
He's mugging these guys. Nobody says a fucking word.
The coolest shit ever.
That to me, I have chills right now. That is alpha energy. And those are the guys. If I had a DB like that on my team, bro, he's my best friend.
And then they got a center by the name of Creed Humphrey. number
Taking people to salt
52,
mines.
Who was fucking snubbed on the All-Pro team, by the way. They should add a third slot just because of this situation, But he was out there with no sleeves, just taking these fuckers to the salt mine.
Surprised he
again.
didn't die, Kyle, because that's what happens to people when they wear no sleeves.
He's
and
built
minus
different.
30.
He's from Oklahoma.
Pacheco was out there. Pacheco's from Jersey or wherever he's
Check
from.
it, yeah, Rutgers.
No
They
sleeves.
don't care. But I will say this. The run game was great, and they started off in heavy doses of big explosive runs, but it was the pocket that Patrick was sitting in that had me so impressed. It was the middle 3. And you know what? I always reference the New Orleans offense with Drew Brees back in the day, the vintage. It was Jari Evans and Carl Nix protecting the interior. And it was Trey Smith and it was Joe Tooney, and it was Creed Humphrey protecting the integrity of the center of the pocket. Patrick was stepping up. He felt comfortable back there. And, yeah, there were some drops on the back end, but there were some big plays, too. Rashee Rice, what did he go for, 180, 160? I mean,
He went for enough to hit the props.
just
Kyle.
throw him the ball.
Except I had a 2-touchdown Rashee Rice prop that
Travis
paid
won't
out
do
10
that
to
again.
1, and it was a tackle.
Travis won't do that again.
He won't do that again.
You sure?
But it's the defense.
I'm positive.
It's the
guys
defense,
sure?
right?
I know he won't do
It's
it
the defense, or was it the lack of the Miami Dolphins?
Here's what it was. It was all, and I don't want to jump out of the gym. You know, I've been Mr. Pound on the table for Kansas City. I was puckered up for them to lose and me going to the set of Inside the NFL because I kind of got hot at my teammates there. They all jumped me on Kansas City after one of these losses, and they were like, "Oh, they suck." And I was like, "Who's going to Kansas City and beating them in the playoffs?" Well, the nice thing is nobody. Because now they got to go on the road. But I think the two biggest advantages they had were the coaching advantage, okay? And I think McDaniel's a really good coach. I don't agree with everything he did down the stretch this year. And what he does at quarterback and where he weighs in on that is going to have to, that's going to be important too. But third down penalties for these guys. You talk about going in the elements, third and manageable, where Tua can throw a quick, easy throw. Let the players make plays on 3rd and 5 and that sort of thing. There were numerous third downs from the first drive, 3rd and 8, false start. Okay, 3rd and 1, illegal formation after Tua skips the ball on 2nd down. 3rd and 9, false start, Tyreek. 3rd and 4 with 10-15 left in the game, you go delay of game. Okay, that's unacceptable. Okay, so you can talk about the advantage in the cold, the whole thing. They weren't disciplined enough, and maybe that's because they were thinking about the damn weather. I don't know what it was, but these issues have popped up with Miami all year long, and that just tells me they weren't ready to go, and Kansas City was. But Kyle, to your point, I think the most important thing in this game, and something that we should be wary of when they go to the next round and the next round, if they get there, is Mahomes. We talk about the receivers and how bad the receivers have been this year. We have not talked about enough the tackles. And I told you guys this coming into the season. I did not like the additions of tackle. Okay, and the tackles have not played well. And Miami having 3 guys down on the edge, which is a reality. Okay, Miami, you could probably feel like there's a lot of excuses that you can take, but what's the excuse in the other 8 to 10 games you played against good teams over the last 2 years? Okay, but without good rushers on the edge, Mahomes had enough time to bake a cake when he wanted to. And I think him not having pressure on him, it allowed him to work through things, especially in the elements with his receivers. And maybe if you got the tackles right this year, we wouldn't be talking about the receivers. And so I just think that's a little bit of a perfect storm thing. The last advantage is the biggest one, the quarterback. Okay? Tua is not him. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but he's not him. He's a guy that I think is a good dude. I root for him. He's overcome a lot. He's a solid quarterback in the NFL. But you want to talk about, we were talking today, I said 3 weeks ago that maybe he's not the answer, and I whispered it because I'm like, when you say things and they haven't come to fruition yet, you're worried that people are going to be upset. And people are upset when you say things like that.
It's like my Justin Jefferson trade idea.
Yeah. So ask yourself this question. That's funny. That's really funny. Ask yourself this question, Kyle.
It's not funny.
I think it's instructive here. If you're talking about moving on, and I'm not saying you need to move on. I haven't done enough research on Miami's cap situation, the capital they have, the players that would be available. How short is the list of teams that would trade for Tua? Anybody got one?
No.
I can't
Okay,
think of one.
it's a short list. How long is the list of players that you think you would be able to win with down there in this offense? There's a few that are out there that I'd be like, that's an upgrade. Okay, Kirk Cousins,
Justin
Dak
Fields?
Prescott, Kyler Murray,
Justin Fields?
Justin Fields.
He could throw the deep ball.
I'm not even talking about the deep ball. That's a tired old thing.
Not tired. It's wired.
It's true, but it's true, and I was killed for saying it. But he does not throw the deep ball well. Okay, but I'm not going to put that deep ball on him. There's ugly weather out there. It was tough to throw the ball.
Buddy,
but
he does that in.
Okay, I'm just trying to be fair, Kyle.
Buddy.
I know, buddy. But here's the deal. When he throws that pick, and this is Steve. This is Spags, man. We talked about the disguises being the key to this game. Kyle, they're in quarters pre-snap, then they're in 3, and then they rotate late to 2-man, and encapsulated in the whole thing is the coaching advantage and the quarterback advantage because Tua just throws it off his back foot, just fuck it, waddles down there somewhere, and there's pressure, but there's not pressure with a capital P. Now the other guy, The other guy that we were comparing, that some people were saying Tua belongs in that category, or anybody I named not on that list earlier, if you're putting him in the conversation with Mahomes, you're smoking crack or bath salts if you're in Florida.
Yep.
Okay? But like Patrick Mahomes, I saw a clip of Bill Belichick last week, and he was talking about before a game where it was very cold and windy. He was on the sideline. He's like, I say we throw the ball. He said, people aren't expecting it. That's not the game plan people think you're going to roll out with, but if you got a guy who can throw it, you throw the ball. Okay? The first 3 plays of the game, you have the confidence in your quarterback to throw the ball 3 times. Okay? The first 2, Kelsey drops one, he sails one. They zoom in on Mahomes. His face says to me, holy shit, it is hard to throw the ball out here. But here we go, I'm going to do it anyways.
Yep.
And as Kyle, as you put before, his ball cuts through the wind. Okay, I saw him make throws Sunday or Saturday that I got chills thinking about it. Not because I'm thinking it's cold out there, because I'm thinking that guy's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
That he's out there in that wind, in that cold, delivering the strikes that he delivered. There's a big difference in who's on one sideline under center and who's on the other sideline. So I just think it comes down to coaching, quarterback, elements, and you knew what was going to happen.
Man, those fans are awesome, and I give a tremendous amount of credit to the Hunt family for directing fans to they tailored the rules to loosen them up a bit for what fans were allowed to bring into the stadium. You were allowed blankets without zippers. You could have batteries to use heaters.
That's
you could
right.
Bring this and that, and the third you could bring cardboard.
Yep.
They know that that's part of the advantage,
Yep.
and it showed. Obviously, the better team won, the better quarterback won, but I got to give a shout out to a well-run organization.
I want to shout out my dog Shane O'Brien from Missing Curfew, which is, of course, a great hockey podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. My boys from the Bus on Bonnaroo, those guys are a good time. And Shane, I did not know was going to be at that Kansas City game. He went with his lady friend, I guess. And I texted him to ask him how it was, and he was like, longer. It was fucking cold, man. And that's a hockey player saying that. He's like, how did you do that? What's the coldest game you ever played in? I think in Philly, that last game was 0 and -8 maybe. But at least it was sunny, and the wind chill was -8. You played in that Dallas game. Me and Nate were talking about it.
2014, Monday Night Football, 8:15 kickoff, Dallas Cowboys at Chicago Bears. I think it was -7, and it was 20-mile-an-hour wind.
How many people died?
My matchup.
Okay, good. Jason Hatcher?
It was Hatch, who is
He's the man.
the best
He's
guy
awesome.
in the world.
But he was cold.
And if you don't follow
Freezing.
Jason Hatcher on Instagram, you need to do it because it's great. But Hatch was like 35, and he was like, long, like my neck is bothering me.
Yes, oh yeah. Mhm.
Hatcher, it was the year that Hatcher had to get the cowboy collar.
Yep.
And he was lining up literally a yard and a half off the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Because he's so long and tall. He
Yes.
can play with that. But I was trying to close that space, and he was not comfortable in that cold.
I don't think Miami was comfortable in that cold, and I think Kansas City was. And I think sometimes it's not that simple because there's the quarterback and the coach. But I also think one team they basked in it.
How warm was it in Andy's jacket?
Oh, it had to be so warm. The mustache wasn't warm.
Just like I just want to crawl up in there.
All right.
Let me ask you something. For a franchise like Miami, where you potentially might have to do this for years to come when you go
gotta
into the
pee.
playoffs, how can you properly prepare for elements like that?
Draft Big Ten guys. No, honestly,
No, honestly,
hey, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you at home something. How many points does a Kirk Cousins led Dolphins offense score Sunday?
More than 7.
More than 7.
In the cold?
Okay? Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying anybody. I'm saying like whether it's Kyler, whether it's
And Tyreek probably doesn't have to wait on that deep ball.
this wasn't all about the cold. It's also about ultimately, and it was going to be about ultimately, the quarterback at some point. And I know for the Dolphins fans in the chat, I have nothing against the Dolphins. I really don't. What's happened over the last 2 years is your fans can be so insane that eventually I resent the fan base. But I know there's a lot of cool ones. But you have to admit that quarterback is a problem. It is. It's not. He's not the reason you're winning. The reason you're winning is because of, at times, that defense, which was really beat up, and I totally hear you. I thought they could have made a run with that defense, but they were just too banged up. And, how do you fix it? You go out and you fix it at quarterback at some point. And if you don't, you better have the number 1 defense in the league, and you better hope and make sure that you beef up the offensive line to give him a perfect amount of time so the pocket's clean, and you better hope that Tyreek and that Waddle stay two of the fastest guys on the planet for the foreseeable future. There's a lot that has to go right the way I describe it, right? You got to have a perfect offensive line. You got to have a great offensive play call. You got to have fast guys outside.
You need a better quarterback.
All right, so let's talk about
Let's do the
let's
moment.
talk about the moments, the mentions. Okay,
Oh, that's it, huh? Those are the games.
yeah, Kyle, it's that easy.
Okay.
And then we got to pick our games later.
I've got my moments.
Okay,
Best flight.
Best flight, Green Bay, obviously.
okay.
You reign supreme. You're America's team now. You went and you dethroned the formerly America's team. You might have. Yeah, there was a lot of things that Green Bay did to the Dallas Cowboys yesterday, and they had a great flight home.
Some aren't legal in some states.
Yeah, no, they undressed the Cowboys,
Yes,
forced derobing.
derobing in front of all those people,
Yeah,
in front of all the Ford trucks.
a lot of Ford trucks.
Well, they do. They have like a bunch of trucks up on like pedestals and cheerleaders on pedestals. The place it's a hideous stadium. It really is. Reed likes the stadium. I hate the stadium.
It's like Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay. Best flight, Miami Dolphins. Let's get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Go back to Miami.
Okay. We'll be back in Miami. I know it hurts.
Worst
but,
flight,
like,
Pittsburgh. Some guys are just afraid of flying. You know, there's a lot of guys on teams. And even if it's a quick trip from Chicago to Cleveland in September with clear skies and no wind, guys are praying and listening to gospel and freaking the fuck out. Now imagine whiteout conditions,
snorting benzos.
30 miles an hour of wind. And
If
the
I had to
hurricane's not over. The snow hurricane's not over, and they're trying to fly.
If I had to fly into Buffalo, I've never put anything in my nose, but I'm going to crush up some sort of benzodiazepine. If I had to fly into Buffalo with 65-mile-per-hour winds, that's the unsafe thing
driving.
about that game. Yeah, I'm going to say, hey, guys, see you Tuesday or Monday or whenever the game is.
Nobody said no to
Driving
John
in that
Madden.
snow. No
I don't care if it
way.
takes me
What's
2
worse?
days, bro. I'm going to rent a fucking Sprinter and get somebody to drive me. But the worst flight, Joe Flacco,
Yeah.
you know, because
Worst flight, his footballs.
yeah, exactly. Because it just all went to shit, and it could have been such a special run. Still was special, man. Joe Flacco, he was sitting on the couch, man.
special.
Hats off to him.
Bevel Conway was Houston. The city of Houston, which I didn't realize is the third biggest city in
Oh, it's
the
huge.
country.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's
Huge.
huge.
Yep.
Huge.
It's huge. It's up there with Jacksonville and landmass.
It was cool to see.
Jacksonville's landmass, Houston's people. Okay, Bevel Conway, Kansas City, Miami. I love watching games in the cold. I'm sorry. I'm
That was
bored
great.
at this point.
I figured that was like a alley-oop for you.
Anti-Bevel Conway. It's a little bit more complicated. Now, I've railed on this setup before, but it's Skip Bayless's kitchen. Okay, I know you have a lot of money because you sold your soul to the devil to fire off asinine takes for major network television for years, okay? And that's your kitchen, man, with black, yellow, and white subway tiles and
It has to be the guest house. Like, there's no way he's going to his main kitchen and his wife's
His
like,
friends
yeah, no
hate him.
problem.
those ceilings are 7 feet. Okay, I understand, dude. Like some people are balling on a budget, but not Skip Bayless. And he's got that shitty trash can. He does this thing every year. At some point,
Skip,
maybe
pay less.
yeah, exactly. Upgrade the fucking kitchen at some point, Skip. It's ugly.
My anti-Bevel Conway was seeing a guy get his knee hit.
Yeah, that was ugly. I could tell you didn't like that. Fly on the wall. Go ahead, Kyle.
The blue tent when Matt Stafford went in it.
Yeah. All right, here's the deal.
What did he say? He's like, I know. He walks in clutching his hand.
Yeah.
They close the thing behind him, and he goes, I know the fucking rule.
Yeah, yeah.
Get me out of this tent.
Get me out of this tent. Spend a
Carson
minute.
Wentz is over there, like, doing high knees.
Oh, Wentz was looking at the.
I was like, this kind of seems like a Carson Wentz spot.
I felt like that too, Kyle. We were talking.
He's a tough boy.
Maybe I was talking to myself into Rams +3, and you know, like, but it was like I go, man, you know, this could be Wentz against Goff. I mean, the
I mean, we
script.
all saw what happened to Stafford.
Yeah,
He
we
is
all
a
saw
tough
it.
SOB.
He's tough. Fly on the wall for me. The Seahawks dinner the other night. Supposedly Pete Carroll, who we gave him his flowers on the pod. We love Pete Carroll, but the whole LOB team came back and had dinner with and had input on like what do they do next and the whole thing. But like supposedly there was some good natured shit talk. There was some, and Russell showed up late.
See, that's what I want to know.
I thought. Okay, Pete Carroll on his dinner with current and past players last night, it was nice to hear that Russell and Sherman were mending the fences. Carroll said they got the word out to see if we can get the band back together at Legion, and then guys just started to show up out of nowhere.
He said he's in heaven, just in the middle of all the guys. Let's moment of silence.
Yeah. We had a great evening. We're having a blast. Out of nowhere, a door opens up, and in walks Russell Wilson out of nowhere. Russ just hit the scene. They flew up from San Diego or something like that and surprised us, which just made it really fun. And I'm walking out the door, and at the end of it, we're getting ready to go, and Richard and Russell are standing in the doorway, and they both looked at me and said, look what had to happen for you to get us to talking to one another and having fun. It's great, man. Like there were some great players on that team, and I hated them at the time because we were in the division. But a lot of them, a couple guys are my friends and people I like, and I just am really, really glad Pete got that night. I mean, it sounded pretty cool.
You know, Pete Carroll recruited me to play at USC.
Oh, that's funny.
And he called me one time, and the only stadium I really knew about in the greater Los Angeles area was the Rose Bowl. And I said, I'm so excited to play at the Rose Bowl.
Why didn't you?
Well, this USC plays at the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah.
And I hung up, and Dad was like, who was that? I was like, Pete Carroll. He's like, they play at the Coliseum.
Oh, fuck, Kyle.
Hollow man.
Damn.
That's like when I finished the
Dad, dude.
He
was like, huh? That's
I finished the
play there.
I finished the interview with Kevin O'Connell and asked him what happens if Aiden O'Connell gets in the Super Bowl because I thought they were related. Okay, and then we cut it from the interview because we had some bad info. It wasn't my fault. Let me back the bus up over whoever put that in the pre-show doc.
Said they were related.
I was like at
Wikipedia's fault.
at the end of the show, I was like, one more question, Coach.
Stop.
Yeah, I was like, let me paint you a picture. It's Super Bowl, whatever the fuck it is.
He thought it was a deadpan, like.
Oh, yeah. He was like, ha, I guess we'll heat him up. And I was like, you would do that to somebody in your family, right? Catch you next time. And then we cut that from the interview.
It did almost work out. They played on December 10th, and Aiden O'Connell was on the other side.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Kyle? You said that Pete Carroll recruited me. Nick Saban recruited me by way of sending me a letter in the mail when he was at LSU, and I got so jacked up because, you know, Dad always had something, whether it was like, I want to play at Florida State, and he'd be like, well, I think you could be a really good college guard if you work on your sets, that sort of thing. So, and then it was like, I got an LSU letter, and I'm like, Dad, check this shit out. You seen them play?
Guard these nuts.
And and Dad's like, and he still vehemently denies the story went down exactly this way. But Dad is smart. Dad was like, Chris, he's not going to be there long. This is 2003, and he was not there long.
He was not there. Freedom Caucus.
In
a good way.
Yeah, he was in the Freedom Caucus, went to the NFL, and then back to Bama. So let's go Hollow Man.
Hollow Men, Cowboys coaching staff.
Yeah,
period.
It's all fucked up. They're in trouble.
Poor Jerry.
I was looking up in the suite, like, is everybody getting fired in the suite? Like, even if you have some, like, just some.
My dad called during the stream.
They're gonna fire the janitor
to say that everybody in the Cowboys organization needs to get fired.
And the janitors too. He was saying.
Even the people who work
the yellow
the
yellow security people.
Get them out of here.
Get them out of here.
Hire robots.
Hollow Man, I'll give it to Jerry Jones. Sure. So the Hollow Man just goes to the whole state of Texas. No, just Dallas.
Not Houston.
Fort Worth. St. Louis Memorial. I'm going to give that to the shovelers, man. The shovelers, the snow shovelers that are making it possible for us to enjoy some inclement weather this afternoon as those two teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers
How
and Buffalo
about
Bills,
if you're
get
a
ready to
fan,
play.
are you sitting on top of snow to watch the game?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Sure. Fuck yeah. I'm going to have my snow pants and the whole thing.
People that live in Antarctica, they just sit on top of snow all day. I was going to say about what you were saying, the shovelers.
Nobody lives in Antarctica now.
Back in the day.
Did you know that?
Scientists.
Some people
only
Scientists.
only the crew from The Thing.
Scientists.
Yeah. You ever seen the movie The Thing?
No.
Oh, it's a classic.
Well, then they're up there too.
It's a classic.
Down there. It's Antarctica down.
Yep.
Okay. There was a fan,
Santa
an
is
Eagles
up there.
fan. There was an Eagles fan in 2006. I think they were in the NFC Championship, and there was like a blizzard in Philly, right? 2006.
Yep.
And there was a fan, and I forget his name. Fuck. But he went out there to shovel snow, and he didn't have sleeves, didn't have gloves on, and he was out there for 8 hours. And the next day, he had to have all of his fingers amputated.
No way.
Jesus.
No
He
way.
was left with 2 thumbs.
Now that's dangerous.
Now, all I could think was when the Eagles went on to lose that game was he just gave him 2 thumbs down.
You're a sicko.
You're a sick fuck.
But I have to give my SDL memorial, and it'll be to Vissus helmets. Now, people said, oh, what a bad look. Their helmet broke and blah, 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 blah. Do you guys not understand force and force distribution? Okay, because if that force is distributed the same way and his helmet doesn't break, that same pressure and force impact goes into Patrick's brain.
Skull.
And Patrick didn't even notice that it
It's
happened.
like an airbag that works. It's like after a car accident being like, why is the car not looking?
They have a proprietary protective paint at Vissus that separates itself from the other companies. And not only is it a safe helmet, it is the safe helmet. It is like the Toyota.
Is this an
of
ad?
No, it is the Toyota of helmets. Like out of the top 5 helmets, it holds 4 of the spots.
They're gonna send Kyle a lifestyle helmet.
It holds 4 of the spots, bro. It's like the helmet. So it broke. People thought it was bad. It obviously wasn't tested in that weather, but in my opinion, it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, I mean,
Why is that a good thing to see if it hasn't been tested in that?
I'm not going.
A good thing to see that Patrick was obviously not.
I don't think he was
back.
concussed. People were like,
B,
yo, why are they not checking him out?
didn't
He
even
didn't show
notice
any
it.
signs of a concussion.
yeah.
And also the guy's standing there flat-footed. Patrick's the one running full speed. And yeah, he lowered his head. Maybe he gets a fine. But I also think like when your quarterback is out there in minus 30 degrees lowering his head at the goal line, like that's
Says
kind
a
of
lot
fucking
about your
sick too.
team.
It's kind of sick too. And also like when it happened and that hit happened, I was like, ooh, Pat might have got dinged. And my wife's like, nah, he's fine. I'm like, that hit was a little.
Maybe we can get some Vissus helmets. I'll get a Ducks helmet.
Yeah.
And you get a.
and we take him outside and break him.
Wahoo's helmet.
Yeah.
Room temp. We'll take care of them.
But anyways, I don't think Pat was concussed or anything like that. I just think if
What a
anything, I might
badass,
get fine.
dude.
He's just a badass. Okay. Best seat. My best seat is going to go to everybody who's right outside of the frame in Taylor Swift's suite, because if you're going to have me swag surfing up there as a white male, like I'm just not going to do it, and you're going to be
That's
mad at me
funny,
because I'm going to
Chris.
stick. I'm going to stay still. The people who should be thankful are the people who didn't get in the picture.
That's funny because I'm mad I wasn't in the picture.
You wanted to be in there doing the.
Because I love a good Wayne mixtape.
I do too, but I can't dance.
Yeah,
and
but
neither
it's-
can the people in
No,
that.
that's
If I'm going to make a
That's the
mockery of
remix.
myself, I'm going to do it between Donna, Kelsey, and Taylor Swift.
And Andrew Luck, was he up there, or was that somebody that looked like Andrew?
You know
Fuck
that's
it,
not
that's
Little Wayne's
awesome.
song, right?
That guy looked like Andrew Luck in the suite.
What a random.
I went through the whole fucking game thinking Andrew Luck was sitting with Taylor Swift. I didn't ask any question.
How lucky
You're
is he?
hilarious.
Was it Andrew Luck?
I don't think so.
He looked just like Andrew
It could
Luck.
be. Remember Andrew Luck at the beginning of this year? He came out in like that decorative costume.
And there's no reason Andrew Luck would be at that game.
No, no.
But it looked just like Andrew Luck. There was a guy up there that looked like Andrew Luck. Okay.
Swag. I serve. I swag.
Game ball, I'm giving
Serve.
it to Jordan Love, man.
I
Biggest.
got that chrome on this Bugatti.
Yeah.
I'm strong in this Bugatti.
You know that's
2 V8s.
You know
Ain't no such thing as driving slow in this Bugatti.
that's a remix.
rhyme
That's not
Bugatti with
that's
three-
not-
That's the one I like.
That's not the one they played in the stadium. Just to
I
let
think it
you
was
know.
the Soldier Boy, right?
No.
Who was it? Who is it? No, you say it like I should give a shit about that song. Like that song is
thought
like
it was Dem
like that's
Franchise
like a
Boy.
Beatles album.
I thought it was Dem Franchise Boy.
No, it's not. It's obviously Dem Franchise Boy.
So do I have game ball now? Game ball.
Yeah.
I know Jordan Love probably deserves it, but I'm gonna give it to Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
he
it's
owns
sick.
the state of Texas.
Yeah.
A lot of ownership being taken in Pack. You know, the Packers, they own the Bears. They, whatever.
Yeah.
But they really do. Aaron Jones has an ownership stake in the state of Texas, and also his pass protection, bro. You can sit in the O-line room whenever you want.
All right. Fax's viral moment of the week.
My viral moment of the week this week is going to Chris Rose and my old teammate Maurice Jones-Drew with a funny exchange where Chris Rose says, "This is far and away the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has had. I mean, is it possible that they could ride the D?"
Who said this?
There was Okay, you missed this.
This is like a post game.
These two at NFL Game Day Live.
Stop. That's the look I just gave you.
MJD was like,
Defense.
"Is it possible they could ride the?"
MJD is so
He's so funny. If you watch him on that show, oftentimes he's like just getting off a plane. He's like, "I didn't see the fucking game."
He's
Like,
so funny.
he's funny, dude. He's
He's
a great
honest,
guy.
unapologetically honest.
Okay, we got a little Caesars ad here, and then we are going to preview the games very quickly because I got to get up to Philly so I can watch these games. Okay,
I gotta play some War Thunder.
make Little
to
Caesars,
play.
Tale of Two Cities. Make Little Caesars the official pizza sponsor of the NFL. Part of your game day. Order online during the Pizza pregame all day on NFL game days and Pro Bowl Sunday, and get ready for some football and fun. Gotta have both. Choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. Either way, you win. And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the game.
Hey, Chris, fucking awesome job there, dude.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Let's talk about these games that are happening this afternoon on a Monday. Okay, we got Pittsburgh and Buffalo first off. Now, I just want to point out, and I'm only saying this because if you take my pick to the bank and it doesn't hit, just know you got on at the wrong time. I literally went 6-0 on totals and sides this weekend. Okay, Kyle, I'm like, like it's fucking hot, dude. Feel this.
To do that on first weekend of playoffs, too. Is
I'm in
even better.
playoff mode, bro. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in this game. I think it's going to go under, and I think it's going to go Pittsburgh. I think it's maybe like Buffalo. Let's say 27-18. I'll make up a score just so I can. It's going to be like that. Okay. No, that's not.
That's over, though.
That's over. Let me take. Okay, we're going to go Buffalo 23-13.
Oh, God.
No, fuck, that's a push.
Flip-flopping. Flip-flopping.
23-14, that's what I said the other day.
Yeah.
23-14.
I'm gonna go with the over.
Okay.
It's gonna hit the number.
I kind of feel like it's one of these things where everybody, like, the game got canceled and they thought the Storm's going to get better functionally for, like, football, and it is. And the total shot up to, like, 38.5, and now people are like, yeah, they're going to be able to throw the ball. But I don't think it's going to be easy.
And if the Bills win, they host the Chiefs. If the Bills lose, the Steelers get to play the Ravens, and the Texans get to host the Chiefs.
Now,
The
remember.
Chiefs host the Texans, excuse me.
Now, remember, the NFL is going to get what they want. Okay. Now remember this, because you're not going to be able to hear the end of it from Pittsburgh fans if Buffalo wins and there's a call or two, because obviously the NFL wants Josh and Patrick.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you can get bad Josh Allen for 2 plays in the game and you capitalize, you can not only hang in this game and you could win it. But I don't think it's going to happen. Everything would have to break perfectly for you, but it would be turnovers. And the guys, Kyle, TJ Watt being out, that hurts, but it would really hurt against the timing offense where, they're explosive and they get the ball out quick, like if they were playing Miami. Okay? But when they're playing Josh Allen, all these guys are going to have a fighter's chance to get there. He's going to hold the ball. Marcus Golden can rush. Herbert can rush. Highsmith can rush. They're still going to be able to get there. We'll see if they can turn it into anything. And then Philly, Tampa, I go Philly.
One thing about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Not betting Philly anymore.
I know.
One thing about Pittsburgh game, and obviously I'm on Buffalo and all that stuff, but if Pittsburgh's going to have success, they have a pretty good combination of things going for them offensively, with the fact they got 2 backs that they can lean on with Warren and Harris, and they've both been pretty damn productive. I like the schemes in which they're attacking these fronts with. They do a lot of this man schemes, trap, wham, that kind of thing. You're going to catch these aggressive interior guys on their heels or with their head over their toes. But if Mason Rudolph can throw the ball for 3 air yards and get George Pickens the football, bad things can happen in these kind of conditions. Footing's off. Pickens is big and
Warren, screen game, Warren.
That's what I'm worried about. The explosive plays that come from a little spark that leads to a forest fire.
And kicking in games like this is treacherous. So you might see teams going for it, which is another reason I kind of like the under, is like teams might go in areas of the field that they wouldn't otherwise. You also could get the turnovers, which would kill the under. Philly, here's what you got to do, man. I don't know if it's possible that you can win 4 games. in over the next month. Now, what is possible is winning one game at a time 4 times. Okay, I know it sounds stupid as fuck, but from a mentality standpoint, that's where you need to be. You need to go down here and say, hey, we got out of Philly. The regular season's over. We died. Everybody wrote us off. We're dead in a lot of people's eyes. Jalen Hurts hadn't thrown the ball a lot this week. A.J. Brown unfollowed all the Eagles shit on his Instagram. He's not playing. The sky's falling. The defense
Buddy, I
sucks.
hate that.
Well, guess what? Baker Mayfield is hobbled. You can get to him. You can nut up and stop the run. You can play like your hair's on fire for 60 minutes, and I think if you do, and I think if this offensive line, if you trust them and you run the football, you're going to win this game.
They've got 2 All-Pros.
If you
They should be able to lean on their All-Pros.
if you run the ball, you can win this game. Cover, I don't know. What I need Philly to do is close out this money line parlay
Can
with all the
Jalen
winners
throw?
from the weekend.
Phil Simms says that you don't even touch the football with your middle finger.
I think they win this game, Kyle, and I think the under hits. I think I'm a little bit nervous because usually it goes over and under like yesterday, but I go under. I go dog favorite. Guys, like, subscribe, tell your friends.
That was a fun episode. It's a
Lot of fun.
Fucking wild card weekend.
I love that weekend, and I'm so sad it's over.
And it's Monday. It's not over.
Well, it's not over,
Luther
but
King Day.
it's gonna.
The kids home from school?
Thank you guys.
Chris?
Tell a friend.
Hey, we love you guys, man. We love you guys, man. Whoever you like, whatever your team is, don't be arguing with people. Don't give the NFL too much power. Okay, the NFL fucked up your Sunday. Don't let it fuck up your week, man. Just move on.
Let's have some beer.